All right, there we go. I think we're officially live. Yeah, chat. We didn't just get the stream prepared 30 seconds ago. That didn't just happen. How's everybody doing? EJ, it's Jets, it's Patriots. I'm assuming they put the Jets this early on in prime time in the year, just in case, because they weren't sure what the November and December Jets were going to be like. Still should be an interesting game. For me, first things first, I think the Keon White hype train is going to start tonight. I was banging that drum since he was a draft prospect. You guys know that I was a big Keon White guy. He's been phenomenal the first 2 weeks, and the Patriots defense is pretty darn good, even without Christian Barmore, even without the departed Matt Judon. This is still a really good unit, and Keon White's a big reason for it.
Yeah, Mayo's not going to make it easy on the Jets tonight. Not that the Patriots ever make it easy on the Jets, but this version of their particular defense is going to make it very interesting. Going through, making my notes for the Jets and the Patriots for this game. There are some things that are going to give the Jets some trouble. There are ways that they can get ahead of that or away from that, but in general, this is not going to be an easy out for the Jets. They're going to have to play differently, I would say, than they have so far. And we've seen it in fits and spurts. The end of last week's game, or actually the end of the first half of last week's game, we saw some hurry up from the Jets. And holy cow, did they look like a completely different offense. And if I was the Jets, I would drop straight into hurry up, basically like a 4-minute offense, because Aaron Rodgers looks completely different in that offense. And that's when they scored at the end of the first half. He was sort of automatic, just sitting back, picking targets, first read, second read, throwing the ball. And that's when they got chunks. The run game is going to be a little bit more nuanced. We're going to have some fun with the run game tonight.
All right, chat. I think I fixed my mic. I think I had my FX3 mic on instead of my actual mic. So thank you for pointing that out.
Of course.
Like I said, we didn't just get this stream ready to go 30 seconds ago or anything like that. Chat, if you can let me know if everything sounds good now, that would be great. In the meantime, I want to start off with Alex Tracy, who very generously gave $50 at the very top of this stream, saying, "So happy I got a night off so I can join the stream. New job in construction is paying well. Have a drink on me. Thanks for the amazing content as usual." And I will have an amazing drink tonight. I have two options.
Ooh.
Irish and American.
Oh, very nice.
So at some point, I'm going to polish off the Redbreast 12, and then I also grab my Henry McKenna 10 as well.
Ooh.
Hopefully this game is good enough where I don't need to go through both of these to enjoy it, but I came prepared.
Big shout out to Alex and everybody else that just shows up, comments, watches the videos, subscribes, likes. All those things drive the algorithm, help us bring you better content. But Alex, really glad you got a new job. That's fantastic. Love when anybody gets their bag. NFL players, construction, you name it. Thanks very much for sharing some of yours with us. We deeply appreciate it.
Tunnel Brett was more fun. Secondly, Sean Tron for $2. UT Nebraska, favorite college program so far. Are you talking like going to a game? Because I haven't been to a Nebraska game, but I have been to a Texas game, and so is EJ. EJ goes like once a year to a Texas game. And I'll tell you what, a fully packed DKR is a very different experience than I've ever had at an NFL game. Obviously, there's like 30,000 more people in a typical NFL game, but fully packed DKR for like a big time Texas game is a pretty unreal experience. I thought about going to the Georgia game next month, but the cheapest hotel in Austin, Texas that week, because I'm pretty sure it's also the same weekend as the F1 race. The cheapest hotel I found was like a Fairfield for $1,500 a night. And I don't got that kind of money, chat, so we're not going to that game, but I will enjoy watching it on TV.
Absolutely, and the TV angle should be pretty good. DKR, I will add one wrinkle. A fully packed DKR when a tailback breaks a long run. is, I swear to God, that is what that building is built for. It is a swell, a feeling, a just sort of roar that builds, echoes off the walls of that place. 100,000 people. It is a special experience when a Texas tailback takes off and breaks a 50 or 60 yarder for a touchdown. Seen that a couple of times now, and it is special. So if we can get tickets, that's the tougher thing, I think, for Texas, Georgia. I have a couple of lines out, as a true fisherman does, but I'm not sure they're going to bear any fruit. But we certainly have a place to stay if we get tickets. So that's
the hard part is actually getting the tickets, because the
Yes,
Texas Bama
indeed.
game, like when I went with Bengal
Right.
to Texas Bama a couple years ago, it was like 1,500 each.
Yep.
And that was when Texas like wasn't like Texas Georgia is
Number one in the
basically a
country.
playoff game. Like so
Yeah.
that might be like $2,000 a ticket for like at least the area that we were sitting in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's nice when you can steal tickets. I stole a couple. I can't remember which ticket app I used, so I'm not going to say. But last year when I grabbed those 2 tickets for Kansas, Texas, we sat lower bowl. We were in the 100 level, and they were completely reasonable. And the guy that I was with has watched a good number of Texas games from all over that stadium. He was like, "These are the best seats I've ever had." I was like, "They were not $1,500 a piece. Let's be honest."
Yeah, I will say though, lower bowl for a noon game, not
Oh, look the hell out.
not
Yeah,
ideal.
no, Kansas, Texas last year was like September 30th or something, and
It's
that broke my rule. I don't go to Texas before October. It broke my rule by like 1 day, but yeah, it was 105. We took shelter during halftime to cool off. So
next super chat, we got one from JJ here for $10. Thank you, JJP. Give me the Patriots to win tonight. I don't think this Jets team is all that good, and they would be 0-2 if Will Levis didn't have the football IQ of a potato. Also, for a bet, Patriots over 15.5 points. I will say, before we get too deep into this, my pick tonight is Patriots, and here's why. It's TNF.
Why.
Like things get funky on TNF. B, if you look at what makes the Jets go, it's Garrett Wilson and it's Brees. The Patriots' run defense, even without Bentley, I think is still very, very good. It's like they keep losing guys and they're still great. Like I said, Keon White is just an absolute monster. And so I don't think Brees is gonna have the room tonight to really break the game open and take it over by himself. And then you got Christian Gonzalez against Garrett Wilson, which if there was ever a 1-to-1 matchup where, like if I felt comfortable leaving a corner one-on-one on Garrett Wilson and focusing on, don't let Alan Lazard beat us, it's probably Christian Gonzalez. So it's not an ideal matchup for the Jets. Like I kind of feel like the pass rush that has been so incredibly disappointing so far is going to have to show up and take the game over for the Jets to have a shot here, because Aaron's not Aaron right now, and I think that's clear. Like he could still throw a very beautiful ball, but he's not moving around. And I think the dynamism that came from him being able to throw on the run was such a big component of his game. He doesn't have that right now. So if you take away Brees, or at least limit Brees, and then, sacrifice Garrett Wilson to the altar of Christian Gonzalez, like what do the Jets have at that point, right? So I don't know. I kind of feel like the Patriots might sneak one here.
I'm going to give you a couple. First one's on Gonzo because you brought him up. Okay. If Gonzo shadows Garrett Wilson, and I bet he will, because this is from Next Gen Stats. Christian Gonzalez aligned across from DK on 36 of 44 routes. That's 82%. Metcalf was targeted 7 times when Gonzo was in coverage. DK got 3 catches, 24 yards. DK caught all 7 of his targets against other defenders for 105 yards and a touchdown. So Gonzo shut him down completely. Garrett is a very good receiver. If they put Gonzo on him, I'm with you. That's basically taking away that piece. In the run game, boy, Hackett likes him some screen game, but it's super basic. It's not a fun screen game. It's not the KC screen game. That's not what we're talking about, but he loves it. He'll keep going. Brees versus that pass front 7, going to be a battle. I would imagine they battle mostly to a standstill. In terms of offense, like It's going to be really tough. The Patriots are very sound in their run fits, and they're going to take away not just Brees, but most of the other run fits. And if I'm the Jets, like I said at the top, here's a throwback for you. I'm going to put Aaron in the K gun offense. I'm going to line
that's
up
interesting.
four wide with, Brees in the Thurman role, or if they want to bring in Braylon Allen, they had some success with that last week as well. Like, just go. We're gonna get to the line. We're gonna call plays. We're gonna call 2 plays. We're gonna go basically muddle huddle or no huddle, and we are gonna run down the field on you. And we're just gonna we're gonna tire you out, and we're gonna let Aaron pick his targets because he is extremely effective through the first 2 reads of the quick game. When you settle him down and say go side to side, we see him pulling the ball down. We see him checking the ball down, which again is less EPA, less explosive plays. And we saw him take a couple sacks also when they were playing Tennessee in that situation. You get him in the other one, he looks like a completely different dude. Like 1 or 2, A or B, flick the ball like he can, get it up the seam, walk up, do it again. Like, they were deadly in that offense. If Hackett were looking at the film and saying, hey, how do we want to stress a defense that's going to smother our run game and, basically going to take away our top receiver, I would give Aaron options and say, go fast, pick them and just take what they give you. Go.
See, your premise is that Hackett is capable of
doing
that. So I'm going to stop you right there.
I stayed away from that.
I do want to show
not been kind to Hackett in the comments over the week. No,
I do want to show people our underdog entries, by the way, because we're about 18 minutes ish away from kickoff. So I want people that wanted to tail these and or completely fade them. I want you to know what we're looking at tonight. So I have 2 of them. Both of them are kind of operating under the premise that the Patriots are going to win this game, which I didn't actually look at the lines for this game. I don't know who's favored, but for me personally, I'd be hammering Patriots money line. So I got Jacoby Brissett at higher than 165.5 passing. Man, if that doesn't tell you how down bad NFL offenses are right now, we're like 165.5 passing for an entire game is like maybe, I don't know. Aaron Rodgers lower than 106.5 first half passing. Ramondre higher than 15.5 first quarter rushing yards. I feel like the Patriots are going to be leaning on him heavily tonight.
No,
Keon White higher than 2.5 total tackles plus assists. Again, we talked about Keon White at the top of the stream. He's been phenomenal so far this year. And then Brees Hall higher than 14.5 for his longest reception, not run, reception.
I don't love that one, but we'll see.
I'm just hoping for a screen. I'm hoping for a screen. That's all.
Well, you're going to get a lot of screens, but unfortunately, they're not very good ones. I swear to God, they're high school screens. Like, they're not even high school screens. They're like JV screens.
Oh, I don't need them to be well designed. I just need Brees Hall to do Brees Hall shit.
You need him to break one. I fully get it, but the screen game from the Jets is repetitive and kind of gross. I don't love it. In terms of the Patriots, talking about you said you're hammering Patriots money line, and I agree with that. But in terms of what they need to do against this Jets defense, look, penalties were an issue for the Jets on both sides of the ball. They had 7 for 70 last week. The sim pressures worked pretty well versus Levis, but I don't think they're going to work as well versus Brissett, and that is the exact reason you bring in a veteran bridge starter. Jacoby Brissett is not going to be like spooked by sim pressures. Yeah. So they'll be better off because of that. Tennessee got after the Jets with a bunch of crossers versus man, and New England will try it. They got them straight on one to Boyd on a mismatch to an LB. Like, that's Pop Douglas territory, but they have not been throwing to Pop Douglas. But if they want to, like, tonight's the night. Run Pop Douglas on crossers versus man. You will profit. Tennessee was pretty interesting. They used picks in both the run game and the passing game. They used it in the passing game several times. They used it in the run game a couple of times. What do I mean by picks in the running game? If you can pick the safety, because the Jets are playing too high, a lot of talk about too high in the media this week. The Jets are playing too high, and their safeties have to fill the run from depth. Like, that's what too high safeties have to do. And if you can get one of them, you are leaving a running back one-on-one with a safety coming from depth across the field. that is Ramondre Stevenson's like wheelhouse all day long. He can make a safety coming downhill miss, and you're going to get some big gains there. So we'll see how that goes. Outside zone is a tough go versus the Jets. Inside pulls, not straight up man power necessarily, but counters, anything where you're drawing a blocker from the other side, again, creating quote unquote picks in the running game. That's where Tennessee was sort of making hay. And Patriots are thoroughly capable of mounting that kind of run game. I would expect to see a bunch of it tonight.
Well, you mentioned Pop Douglas. He is on my other, I don't want to call it a backup. Let's call it an alternate
Let's
entry
call it
for
the
tonight.
B slip.
The B slip.
The B
Demario
slip.
Douglas higher than 26.5 receiving.
Oh, you're hoping.
I'm
hoping too.
I know it's tempting. Aaron Rodgers lower than 35.5 for his longest completion. This is the moonshot here. The next one, Garrett Wilson lower than 66.5 receiving.
That's just Gonzo. That's just faith in Gonzo.
It's faith in Gonzo, and it's faith that they're not capable of scheming up ways to get him on anybody else, right? That they're not capable of doing the Ryan Grubb stuff that he did with DK. So that's what I'm hoping for. Brees Hall lower than 96.5 rushing plus receiving, and then Keon White higher than half a sack. So the theme of the day is Gonzo winning his matchup against Garrett Wilson, and then Keon White absolutely wrecking shop. Like, that is the theme of the day. That is what I expect to happen. Chat, I would love your opinion. If you want to fade it, if you want to tail it, again, you can use either the link in the description below, or you can use the QR code on the screen, which I'm going to put that up right now. Whatever you want to do, use promo code BOOTLEG. That'll get you up to $1,000 in deposit bonuses, and you, as of today, get access to a CeeDee Lamb free pick for this Sunday too. So if you think I'm a dumbass, let me know. If you think I might be onto something, say it even louder than that, because I could use the positivity tonight. I had a little bit of a rough week too. I'm hoping week 3's bounce back for me.
Sub-Zero X 5X says, how does Mosley and Bentley being out affect things? It is they're both important players for their team. Mosley is a bummer, like, for the Jets. He is the engine in the middle, and I would expect the Jets to attack the middle a little bit more because of that. I'm not thinking they're going to, again, make a lot of hay against the middle, but like, Mosley is a reason to avoid that area of the field. And look, the Jets say, just like every team, that they have full confidence in their backup, and he's been around a long time and he's familiar with the system. I get it. He's a backup for a reason. He's not CJ Mosley. That's fine. And on the other side, I don't know, when you're missing a human Coke machine, does it matter? Like, I think it does.
What's interesting is this. We talked about this in the summer preview series. The Patriots are the only team that has multiple human Coke machines.
That's correct.
So they've got multiple. I wouldn't be surprised if they do run just a shit ton of nickel tonight. And I mean, like, 3 safety nickel, and basically use Kyle Duggar as a quasi linebacker.
Sure, because he basically is in their system.
He basically is. Or even, we could see like Jabril get active in the run game more as a blitzer if they kind of want to do like early down run blitzes to solve their problems that way. Again, it's the Patriots defense. They're always well coached. They're always talented. Even when they lose their star power, they still get it done year after year. Like, if there's one unit tonight to not be worried about, it's the Patriots defense. Like, they're going to figure it out. So,
yeah, Peppers and Duggar are fascinating and make this defense fascinating to watch because they use them interchangeably, and they use them so interchangeably with each other and interchangeably as safeties and linebackers. So at any particular juncture in the game, either of those guys could be a safety or a linebacker. They could both be both. And it makes it very difficult to prepare for them when you have two players who can fill those multiple roles as well as both of them do. You really don't have a drop-off with either one of them doing that. Now, look, you don't want Jabril Peppers, for the most part, taking on guards. Duggar, on the other hand, I'm fine with him taking on guards because he has flattened more than his fair share of guards in his time in the league, which is super fun to watch. But other than that, they are very versatile pieces, and the Patriots defensive staff understands that and uses that to their advantage.
I just saw Sean Tron's comment that his question was about favorite college team that we've watched so far between UT and Nebraska. I'm
Oh
going to
yeah.
say Nebraska just because Raiola is really fun to watch. And they've got these two DTs. And again, I haven't really dug super deep into this upcoming draft class, but every time I watch Nebraska, they've got these two interior defensive linemen where I'm like, who the hell is that? Like they've got some guys there. So yeah, Nebraska. I'll go with them. They're fun. Beat the shit out of Colorado a couple weeks ago, by the way. Like Shador had no time at all, mainly because those DTs were killing everybody. All right, next question here. Ben Hermes for $5. Hey guys, big fan. How screwed are the Bears and Caleb? Not confident in the coaching staff, and frankly, have never been a big fan of polls. I also am not super confident in the coaching staff, but it's more so about not confident. Well, not more so. Like I'm not confident in Eberflus, but I'm most not confident in the offensive line coaching. Because I feel like, it's been, 3 straight years of just underdeveloped offensive linemen. And you look at Lucas Patrick in Chicago and now Lucas Patrick in New Orleans, and it's night and day. Like, they do not have a good offensive line coach, and that, above literally everything else, needs to get fixed first.
It is very difficult, especially in the division that they're in. I not so much for Minnesota, but certainly for the Packers and certainly for Detroit, you are starting from behind the 8 ball because your offensive line is not going to be as good as those two teams, and that means your offense in general is not going to be as good as those two teams. And that is a tough place to start, and it is very, very difficult when you see offensive linemen leave and be the best version of themselves, and every offensive lineman that comes into Chicago be the worst version of themselves. You know, Nate's a perfect example of that. He was a very good player. There was a reason they pursued him in free agency, gave him a big dollar deal. He came to Chicago and he's looked inconsistent to terrible. Like, that's been the range. And he's played very well in very short stretches, but that's not how you build an offensive line. You need consistency. The center prospects, you talked about Lucas Patrick. We could talk about others. They went other places and played better. James Daniels went to Pittsburgh, immediately played better. They have a very strong tradition of developing offensive line, both young and veterans coming in free agency. So whenever you look at the Bears, it's kind of the lowest common denominator of whatever version of an offensive lineman you're getting. You're going to get the worst in Chicago. You're going to get better if they go almost anywhere else. And that is extremely frustrating as a fan.
Jack Hunter for £5. Thank you, Jack. Morning, gents. First one I've been able to make this season. Yeah, morning. It's like 3 a.m. over there. First one I've been able to make this season. Looking forward to it with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. Yes. Our resident
You have the
Chargers
T on,
fan.
Jack? Do you have the T on?
Chargers 2-0, by the way.
Yeah.
Looking pretty damn good. EJ's actually coming down for a Chargers game in week
You're here.
4. Yeah, like a week from tomorrow. You're coming
Yeah,
down for Chargers Chiefs.
Yeah. I'll be heading down at the end of next week. I'll be driving down to Southern California. We're going to catch the Chiefs Chargers game. We will do our Monday recap live in Coleman's new digs, which would be fun. And then I'll drive back up here and be ready for the Thursday night game that week. So it'll be nice little sojourn to Southern California.
Yeah, just a mild 4 days in the car for a football game.
Whatevs, man. Whatevs.
You just want an excuse to drive down the coast. I know you.
Oh, dude, I'm not driving down the coast if I'm trying to make time.
Just bombing it through farm country for 2 days.
I will be. I will be in the Central Californian wasteland, I think it's referred to as. Yeah.
Well, if you squint super hard, there's mountains out there. You probably won't be able to see them because it's so smoky.
I've done that drive several times. It's not bad. Like, I know a lot of people hash on I-5 through Central California, but it's not exciting, but it's quick. And I've also driven the coast. It is obscenely beautiful, like going through Carmel and everything.
By the way, I know you're a sucker for Indian food. There is legendarily good Indian food at all the truck stops through California. So
yeah. And also really, really, really good Indian food. Some of the best Indian food I've ever had was Palo Alto. My cousin used to live in Palo Alto.
I believe it.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was delicious.
All right, Louise for 5. Ooh, it's not ruples. Wait, $5 are.
It's not rules.
We're playing a game. Brett guesses the currency. I'm gonna go Brazilian.
Okay,
currency.
sure.
Guys, is Vic Fangio cooked? Not much success since 2018.
Oh.
What do you think could be factors in this? I wouldn't say he's cooked, but he is rigid. Not necessarily rigid in schemes. Like, his schemes are adaptable. The problem is everybody knows what he's doing at this point. Everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
we should let the people know that we had a long discussion about this in the podcast that is coming out tomorrow midday, our preview podcast. We did talk about the Eagles and specifically about Vic and his scheme. So for more information, tune into that. We did have about a 5-minute back and forth about Vic and his multiple stops and his rigidity.
Chat says truck stop Indian food sounds dangerous. You think it sounds dangerous, but I'm telling you right now, and same thing in LA. The best Indian food in LA is literally at a gas station. But the reason why truck stop Indian food is so famous in California is a lot of the truckers that drive up and down the state are either Indian or Pakistani. And so it's not necessarily at the truck stops, but like just off the freeway, dotted up and down the valley, are just these incredible, like, home style Indian places that will blow away anything that you'll get anywhere. Like, it's fucking amazing. So just trust me. Find a hole in the wall by like Fresno or like somewhere in the middle of California, and it's gonna be amazing Indian food. I promise. It's great. All right, next one for Eric for $2. Do you guys think Gus Bradley is on the hot seat? Yes, 100%. They can't stop the run, and now they don't have Buckner. They're going to be worse.
Yeah, but
against
they
the run.
haven't. That's the thing. Is like he should be. I think the answer is he absolutely should be in a world that's based on logic and makes sense. The Colts world is not that world in multiple ways. Not always, but in multiple ways. The Colts will sort of give folks multiple chances when the rest of the world is sort of banging the table going, get them out of here. And that goes for free agent quarterbacks, that goes for defensive coordinators, that goes for GMs that can't build offensive lines. Like, it is a thing in Indy to just sort of play out the string no matter what and say, we believe in our guys, and run it back even when there's evidence to say, hey, you're behind the midline, certainly, of the NFL. You're more of a liability than you are an asset. The rest of the world, I think, is very much more well informed than it ever has been in terms of the sort of football consuming populace. So everybody's going, well, why is Gus Bradley there? And Indy's like, he's our guy. We're good. And offensive coordinators, I'll tell you, they love it because they know what's coming and they know how to scheme against it.
Sorry, chat was asking desperate last-minute fantasy questions about DeAndre Swift versus
God.
It was DeAndre Swift, Antonio Gibson, and I'm going to go Swift just because I think it's going to be a Ramondre day today. So, not that it's. I mean, do you have literally any other option? Because
the reason they're asking is because they don't.
It's because they don't. Do you have a receiver?
This is it. We are down bad, but can we be not down worse? Like,
it's not awesome.
That's why they're asking. Yeah.
Oh man. But I gotta trust that eventually Swift will have a decent game in Chicago. It's not even really his fault. They just haven't blocked well. I'm just hoping that eventually they're gonna have just get their foot out of their ass for 1 week. And
the weird thing is, against the Texans, and I don't know if you've gone back and watched this game.
I got about halfway through and I was like, I can't finish this.
Well, see, that's the thing. If you got halfway through, you saw the good stuff. Like
that wasn't the good stuff.
The first half of the Bears offensive line, all of them had way more wins than they had in the second half. Like almost everybody on that line tailed off pretty seriously in the second half. It's a very odd pattern. But the wins and the good play, like Nate had a pretty good first half. He did. He didn't have very many bad losses.
The fact that that was good.
I understand this.
Or their version of good when they were terrible.
Like, it's not Philly. Don't watch Philly and then watch Chicago. That's a bad idea.
It's a different sport. Like, it's not even close.
I was joking with our friend Alex Katzen this morning about that. I was like, well, Chris Morgan and the Bears is the same as Jeff Stoutland and the Eagles, right?
Yeah, okay.
He was like, duh. I was like, yeah, exactly. Not the same thing.
All right, they're setting up for kickoff here. One last question. Kart Racer for $5. Thank you, Kart Racer. What are your thoughts on Mel's band too high rant this morning? How do we get so soft? First things first, he's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, he's wrong. Like, cover 3 is still the most common coverage called. The percentages are closer now than they were 10 years ago, but it's not like everybody just sits in quarters all day. The combined cover 2 and quarters in the last, I think it was in the last 3 years, plus these first 2 games, is like 28%. Okay? Like, it's not a common call. You know, and it's more of it's an answer to some of the stuff that teams were exploiting in the late 2010s to put up like record number of points. But if anything, it's just a defensive answer to an offensive schematic trend. And now there's going to be a reactionary offensive schematic trend to that defensive reaction, which is running the ball. Like, that's just what's going to happen. And then it's going to go back to the 5% more cover 3 than it was 10 years ago when people try to stop the run. And then guess what? It's going to go back. Like, it's ebbs and flows. We don't need to ban too high. It's like saying, oh, we should ban cover 2 because Tampa used it as a situational call to win 1 Super Bowl in 2002. Like, even those Bucs teams still ran cover 3 more than anything else. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of, there weren't calls to ban, cover 3 when the Legion of Boom was killing everybody with it.
I know, literally and figuratively, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And there were some calls to ban the tush push when, again, one team ran it very effectively. But if you watched a lot of the NFL last season, when other teams tried to tush push, they were not near as effective. Like, it wasn't even close. Some other teams had some success, but not nearly to the level that the Eagles did, which is the same thing with cover 3 in the Seahawks in the Legion of Boom era. Like, they ran it extremely well. Everybody tried to copycat it. Everybody tried to draft big cornerbacks. It didn't really work out for most of them. So it's an odd call. It's extremism in a football sense. To say I don't agree with it is the mild thing. It is. To say to ban something because it's been played a little bit more and it's changed the way that offenses move a little bit, like which it has, that seems extreme to me.
Yeah. Mel just really likes it when everybody gets free crossing routes for 300 yards a game, apparently. I don't know.
It's prettier. Come on, man. It's prettier.
All right. Jets in 2nd and 5. Patriots showing man coverage because, of course, they are. It's the Patriots.
And again, they're running just that quick game. Like, let Aaron get up, see what he likes at the line, pre-snap read, boom, hit it. He's so good at that.
That was just one of those, like, I'm going to glance at you, Allen.
Yeah, check with me.
If he's 7 yards off, we're just going to throw a smoke and treat it like a run play. Not even 7. Look at he's 9 yards off. Like that.
Yeah, he's like, we'll take the free yards, and you'll probably get the first down because you're big, so let's do it.
That was not the called play. That was just what they ran. And that's honestly why he wanted Allen there, is because Allen speaks Rodgers' ease,
Yeah.
All right, empty on 1st and 10. Have they even ran it yet with Brees?
Dude, this is K-Gun. This is what this is. Oh, he settled in.
Oh, Aaron's running. Look
at that.
And
bucking it.
And he's throwing it on the move.
Oh,
and he almost got a touchdown out of it.
Oh, man.
Now, there
But
was a
again,
flag. They might have caught him for a hold. We'll see.
okay, I have to say that the cap for the Patriots
Yeah.
might be the ugliest thing I've ever seen on a uniform. Like,
Does it also have the cord on it?
I, it just, it looks like somebody left the crayons on the heater. It's not awesome.
That's kind of a ticky tack hold to me, but all right. Sure. Fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right. So
But
now
I
you're
mean,
in a
at
true
least
pass situation.
Hackett watched the film. He's like spread them out, give her a bunch of options.
Yeah, we're still
I
in
mean,
the first 15.
I
Circle
understand.
back
The
mid-second
script.
quarter.
It's the script. Okay, not great. Now we're done.
Yeah.
Because guess who else watched the film?
Dietrich Weiss.
And Mayo. They were like, okay, so here's where they had success. So here's how we are again going to prepare you to be ready for what they were good at last week so that we can shut that down, along with all the other stuff we normally shut down, like basic run fits. But you see, when Aaron's got to go past like Reed 2, he doesn't look like the same guy. Look at that. Nope. I don't, that's it. That's all he's got. So when he
And
can flick it within 2 seconds, he's wildly effective. After that, it drops off substantially.
and they feel really comfortable calling TE games like that because even if a seam opens up to escape, he can't get out of it. Like
No,
he
he's not
can't,
going to hurt you.
he can't run away from that consistently anymore. So, yeah, call stunts. Like,
Yeah, it's one less thing to account for. You know, in the weeks where you're not playing Lamar, don't prepare for Lamar. Like, if the quarterback's not going to run, just X that off the game plan and go, hey, we don't have to commit a guy to him. We don't have to
this is
commit a
like
spy to him. Like,
4 snaps at empty so far.
I'm telling you. 1, 2, bam, get the ball out on time, get a little yak. This is the way it's going to work for them. And again, Patriots are going to shut that down at halftime with halftime adjustments if they let it go that long. So make hay while the sun shines because you're not going to get a lot else. And even working with that, 4th and 10.
Well,
So-
to me, that was just we need to get some yards to set up a field goal. Oh no, they're punting. I thought
Yeah,
they
I was
got
gonna
far
say,
enough for a field goal.
Or a punt.
I thought they got inside the 40, but they were outside the 40.
No. And this is the thing about the Jets offense so far this season, that outside of the one drive in week 1 when they looked very, very competent and all of Jets fandom went, aha, this is the key. This is how we do it. And they've literally done that once this season. And yes, it's in there, which makes it super frustrating because it is possible, if not probable, and they just haven't found, I'll say, unison on offense. There is always something, whether it's a penalty or a drop or, again, Aaron getting to the third read and going, oh, that's it. I'm either checking it down, like way down, or I'm going to try and run. And of course, I can't really run anymore, so I'm going to get sacked. Like, there's just one thing each, I'll say, set of 4 downs that keeps the Jets offense from looking like it did in that one drive in week 1 where they marched down the field against a good defense and basically, kind of scored almost at will. And everybody went, that's it. They finally clicked. Aaron's back. We're going to be doing this, drive after drive. And they literally, outside of the, I'll say, 3-minute drive right before the half against Tennessee, which, again, consider it's against Tennessee, they looked pretty effective. They still didn't look like they were dominating. Aaron was sitting back in the structures we're seeing, flicking the ball, and they did end up scoring a touchdown, but it wasn't the same feel as the week 1 drive. Outside of those 2 drives, the Jets have not been what I would call clicking on offense.
He's a jugs machine back there, and which means you're really dependent on good offensive line play. Because again, he's not going to get out of it.
Yes.
Hendog 1000 for $20. Thank you, Hendog. Welcome back this week. Let's go, Brees Hall. Can we repeat the Achane performance from last week? Also, I need some defense from the Jets D, please. Also, what's to drink tonight, boys? Well, I haven't poured mine yet, but I'm going to start off with a little bit of Irish. So,
Yeah, good Irish.
Got my Red Breast 12, which really is just me polishing it off, so I have an excuse to buy another one. But
well, that's because I polished off the other one.
Yeah, every time EJ comes down, I'm bracing for impact for EJ.
You had two. You had two. Let's be fair.
And
what do
now
I
have, I have none. So
and now you have none. One because of me, one because of you. It's very equitable. I've got another Sea Pine tonight. This is one of my favorites. They actually do serve this at Lumen Field, and it's in one little beer stand up on the 300 level. And nobody ever buys it, which I love because every time I go, they have it. It's their Mosaic Pale, 5.4 ABV, not a super high IBU rating on it, and just very, very drinkable. Really enjoy it. Sea Pine Brewing is, again, right up by the Stadium District in Seattle. Great stuff. We are not sponsored, but hey, if anybody from Sea Pine is watching, we would love to be. You make fantastic beers.
Or any Irish whiskey
Red
whatsoever.
Breast, Jameson,
any of them. Middleton, if you're watching, you make all of them. So
yeah, Holiday from KC, we worked with them before. They're amazing. Yeah, we would love an alcohol and or a beer sponsor. Why not? We're doing their work for them anyways.
12 personnel here from the Patriots. Ooh. Got nothing on first down, getting nothing on second down. I love me a 2nd and 10 run, by the way, EJ. So
I know that you are a huge fan, standing outside the barrier waiting for autographs from the 2nd and 10 run. Ramondre can have success, but it is not going to be in those straight sort of manpower concepts. You're going to need a puller. They are more susceptible to picks. Tennessee, that's where Tennessee made their money against them. Outside zone was tough. They have a lot of speed. They get to the ball. That's fine. Straight inside stuff, manpower, man on man. They didn't have a lot of – the Jets can lock that down, basically. That is a heave.
That is a free runner right there.
Yeah, that is a not slowing down. But if you can design – basically an inside run game using pullers, and it can be guards. It can be, they used guard tackle, they used guard tight end in Tennessee last week. Anytime you can get guys around into the alley and pry it open, the Jets had more trouble with that than they did with straight outside zone or straight inside sort of man power or gap stuff. So it is a very specific way to attack them, but they struggled with it and they gave up some decent runs. That's where they gave up the decent runs last week. So I would imagine we'll see those. And look, Ramondre is really good at those runs. He has tremendous feet and following blockers into the hole and waiting that extra beat for it to, develop. That's his roundhouse. So we'll see some good runs from him, I would imagine, later in the second half. But those will happen. The other ones, if they just sort of keep with the other two, they're just being stubborn.
So that last pressure on Jacoby Brissett there, a little bit of a protection error, and the error is really just it's on whoever has final say in the protections, which probably is Brissett, considering he's a veteran quarterback. So they're presented with a load front to Brissett's left, right? So you have 3 threats on the line of scrimmage to the left. You're worried about a 3-man game that you don't think you can pick it up 3-on-3 to the left side. So they did, so you got 4 sliding to 3, but you still had 2 linebackers lined up right over the right guard. And so for me, at that point, again, my preference, it's a full slide call, or it's, okay, we're not chipping with the running back who's right there. It's we are just full 6-man, bring him in, bring the running back in. He's there to account for one of those linebackers, because they were showing potentially 6. You've got 5 plus a chip, but the problem is either A, the tackle needs to then come in inside and take the inside threat, and then you just like delay with a chip and then hope you get the throw off before the guy gets there, or you just bring the running back in and you have a 6-man pass protection. So kind of a protection mistake there for me from Jacoby Brissett. I'm not sure why they decided to handle that look where if you're literally looking at the B gap and you see the linebackers looking at you and you're like, we don't have anything for that. Fuck it. We're calling this anyway. Like, far be it from me.
We don't believe you call. We don't think you're really coming because we're not going to account for you.
It's like, well, believe it now.
Yeah, they're going to believe it now, or they should, certainly. And it's interesting because people talk about this all the time. Like, why did that happen? And people were talking about that in the Bears-Texans game, and there was a play down on the goal line where Caleb ended up ducking out of a sack and scrambling. And, like, it was Travis Homer got called in and then didn't basically fill his role. So, again, the Bears identified it. Caleb was calling protections, which is kind of crazy as a rookie quarterback, but they trust him enough. And he called it correctly. He identified the new Mike. The Texans even went, hey, we got it. Alshire was like, all right, they got us. They know what's going on. And he called Travis in, and Travis basically just didn't block the right guy. Nice little tear through the middle.
Braylon Allen, he's had some really, really good kind of flash plays here in the first few weeks. Michael Horn for $20. Thank you, Michael. If Sam Darnold continues to play well and shows improvement next season on a franchise tag, ooh, interesting caveat there. Franchise tag. Remember, it's essentially a 1-year deal here. Wouldn't it be unwise to transition to JJ McCarthy in the 3rd year of his contract? Finding a top 16 quarterback is hard enough as it is. I do think there is a world where they franchise Darnold. I would have to check the exact financial specifics to see how much it would cost, how much space they have. Because remember, one of the most powerful benefits to drafting a quarterback early is the financial benefits, right? So if they think JJ's progression in his recovery is far enough along that they're okay with just rolling with that and then probably getting a decent comp pick for Darnold, assuming he goes and signs, with the Giants or whatever, or the Raiders or whatever. Like if they're comfortable just getting the comp pick for Sam and then rolling with JJ, you can use that money on something else that they need. So I would have to look at the financial specifics, but it's not a crazy idea. Because Sam's playing so well, and, why upset the apple cart if it's working, right? Like, if they make the playoffs and win a playoff game, it's like, are you willing to let that quarterback walk away again? Like, are the Vikings going to walk away from 2 playoff quarterbacks in back-to-back years when, the Giants are starving for 1 in, like, a decade? So it's a tough call, but I could definitely see them kind of going either way with it.
So Jets just put in an interesting wrinkle on that last one with a return motion. Start a guy in motion one way, turn him around basically at the snap to get the defender moving inside, and then run his route back to the outside. So a couple of teams do that with their running backs. Basically look like running back was motioning out flat to protection and then come back to get an inside handoff and go to the opposite side. Really interesting little setup.
Why did you do that, Jelani Tavai? Why did you do that? You had him. What are you choke slamming a dude for? What the fuck are you
doing? Didn't have my limit of flags. Oh, look at man, it's always interesting when the ump looks pissed when he's given
because he's like, why?
Why? Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Like picking the guy up and
then kneeing him in the chest.
What is this, Monday Night Raw?
Reason.
Guess who's getting cut block on every fucking run from now on? That guy.
Yeah.
Like, they're going at his knees every play now.
Yeah, linemen are not thrilled with that treatment of their running back, for sure.
Man.
That's just extra, and that's not typically what you would see, certainly from Belichick coach teams. He was big on not doing that kind of stuff and sitting guys down if they did. He just didn't believe in it. There's a story came out this week about fights at practice, and I think it was McCourty telling the story and said, "Look, a lot of people are like, oh, coaches love fights at practice because it shows fire." He's like, no, Bill was like, if we don't get to fight in the game, we don't get to fight in practice. Like, we don't practice stuff we don't get to do in the game, which is the most like straightforward Belichick stuff ever. But he said the guy that actually stopped it was Vince Wilfork, because Vince came up after he said that, because Belichick said, look, if there's another fight in practice, we're just coming out and running for the entire practice. Like, after the fight, we are going to run for the entire practice. And Vince basically huddled everybody up in the defense and said, all right, anybody starts a fight, as soon as you're done with the fight, you have to fight me. Like, I do not want to run all practice. And everybody was like, okay. Like, we don't want to fight Vince Wilfork, so I guess we're not going to do it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. We just got our first Gonzo target out of bounds.
Yep.
Trying to hit him back shoulder.
Yeah. And this is Gonzo Garrett Wilson. The matchup we were talking about just basically ran out of space. But, man, look at Gonzo's position. He's low. He's balanced. Hips are low. Ready to go forward if he needs to. Like, that is the most composed you're ever going to see a cornerback, like 20 yards down the field. It's
just
nuts.
There's no panic. There's no panic in his game at all. He's always smooth.
He is such a high level athlete, and comes from a family of high level athletes. So it's not like a wonder where he got it, but he is so incredibly coordinated and smooth. It's ridiculous. So it's Peppers wearing the cap, and boy, the all silver cap is just not doing it for me.
Bill let Gronk nearly kill Trey White in a game. I don't think Bill let Gronk do that. I think Gronk just did that.
It's not like football players don't ever go off the chain, but in terms of like encouraging it or turning a blind eye to it, Belichick usually bitched those guys out and said, don't you ever set your team back again. Don't put yourself above the team. Again, look at it worked because they didn't tackle, but is that like not the most junior high screen game ever? I know it worked.
But again, it's C space, attack space. Clearly on film, they were like, if 28 is lined up more than 4 yards off, we're just going to give you a one-on-one because we don't think he can tackle. Like, that is purely we don't think he can tackle. Like, these are not like built in.
Yep.
Right. And these are not built in. It's just a glance of 28s out there. There's my bitch. Like, that's all that is. It's working.
We're going to test him. Okay, this is my mea culpa moment, Brett. I was needling our editor, Jay, who is a big Jets fan, earlier today. Oh, you ready for Thursday Night Football? Are you nervous? All that stuff. And fully in jest, he said, Allen Lazard's going to go off. And I was like, stop.
But was it in jest, though? It is a Jets fan.
And Allen Lazard just scored. So, all right, Jay, you win.
3 touchdowns in 2 games.
I got nothing. Like, find you somebody that is as good for your career as Aaron is for Allen Lazard's career. Like, that's the kind of benefactor you need.
We did. It's Jay.
Jay is fantastic for our careers, I must say. I don't know if it's quite to the Aaron and Lazard level. Maybe just because, anyways, we won't go into that analogy. It's a bad one.
Jack for $5 Canadian. It's International Talk Like a Pirate Day, guys. Will you explain Spider to why banana to us using pirate speak?
That one's on you.
I won't do that, but I will give you my favorite pirate joke.
Okay.
EJ, what be a pirate's favorite letter?
Oh, you'd think it'd be R, but it's C.
God damn it. I love that one, too. Of course, I say that to a dad. A dad absolutely has that in his Rolodex.
I'm telling you, that was like, go ahead. Pitch the medium off-speed 80-mile-an-hour pitch right about belt high. Yeah, go for it.
Oh, shit. All right, Sub-Zero, we got joke. Through the all-timer. Zoe Montgomery for $5. Thank you, Zoe. Hey, with the slow start we're seeing from rookie quarterbacks so far, how confident should I be feeling about Penix sitting and learning behind Kirk? I think you should be feeling incredibly confident right now, because it's hard to be an NFL quarterback. It really is. And I don't think you need to sit forever because obviously the the biggest jump in a quarterback's development is when he gets live game reps so he can learn what he can get away with and what he can't get away with. But in the first like couple months of a rookie season, like Brock Purdy didn't play immediately. Like he didn't really get in there until a couple months into the season after, he had acclimated to being a pro. He had acclimated to the structure and schedule of a week. Like what do things look like in practice? What do things look like in meetings? What are installs like? So it does benefit a quarterback to sit there and learn behind somebody who already knows how to be a professional. They just don't have to do it for very long. Like Mahomes sat in the bench for a year. Jordan Love honestly sat longer than they probably expected him to when they took him. I don't think they thought Aaron was going to do back-to-back MVP seasons, but I still think it benefited Jordan Love.
Yeah, it definitely did.
It absolutely benefited Purdy. I'm trying to think of other guys who sat for a little bit. Herbert was going to sit, and then, the doctor did the whole pokey. Joe didn't really sit. Lamar sat for a little bit. Lamar sat for like a couple months his rookie year, and then he got in there.
No, Joe was pretty much the answer. It depends on the situation, but generally I think if GMs are surveying the league and saying who's playing well sooner, the guys that sat a little bit and then got a chance to go in, or the guys that are thrown right into the fire. Right now, it looks like the guys that sit a little bit generally are doing better than the guys that are thrown right into it. And again, I don't have the numbers to back that up, but if you're a GM, I think it would be wise to do what the Patriots have done in the case of bring in a good median veteran bridge starter who can take these reps against defenses who are going to try and kill your rookie quarterback. Because if you don't think defensive coordinators tee it up against a guy in his second start, third start, fourth start, they certainly do. They're going to blitz the living piss out of him with every look they've got until that guy can handle it. And that's not usually in your fourth start. So you can start off slow. And as fast as the media cycle moves, it's very difficult sometimes to overcome that initial 3 or 4 games. Everybody's saying, hey, settle down, take some games. But there is so much pressure and expectation when you draft a rookie starter, especially high, especially if it's not somebody you didn't expect to play, who was like a third, if Rattler was forced into action, look, that he was not drafted to be the savior. He was drafted to be a developmental quarterback.
Although I can say there are rumblings that people in that building are
understand.
Are like, hey, if DC goes down,
I understand that he
might not get the job back.
So it does happen, but it's a completely different set of expectations than anybody taken in the first round or even in the high half of the second round. And it is difficult to be a young player. It's a big jump. It's a big jump in speed. You're seeing all these guys, including Jaden Daniels, guys who are incredibly physically gifted, going, oh, wait a minute, everybody's faster. Crap. I can still get away with some of that, but I cannot get away with all of it. And that's where you get the early picks. That's where you get the early sacks. That's where you get the early big hits that start to add up. And it takes a while. And if you can do some of that learning on the bench behind a guy who has experience and can tell you what he's seeing and tell you why he made certain decisions and tell you what to be looking for when you eventually do get out there on the field, it can save you some physical wear and tear. It can save you some wear and tear, with the press in your city and the sort of public perception of you as a quarterback. It generally seems like the better way. It is not what fans want. Fans want immediate change. They want the guy that was drafted to be the savior from moment one or else. And that's just not the way it works. It's tough.
Got a special guest in the house, urinating Tree. Hi, Tree. How are you? He said he helped pick it
Tree's
so
back.
Much. I'll tell you what. It was the Steelers' own fault for taking him in the first round to begin with, because he was not a first round quarterback, and I think you knew that. Even when he was taken.
I think you do. Oh, by the way, Tree, when we come to Pittsburgh for the draft, which we are going to do,
we are doing
when the draft is in Pittsburgh, you owe me breakfast from Portland. So,
and I also think I owe you dinner. So,
Oh, sweet.
We're
We're
just
just gonna go
we're just
round
doing
and
a
round.
three-person round robin here.
Nice. I love it. It'll be good eats in Pittsburgh. We'll be happy. We'll be excited when we get to come to your city tree. That'll be fun.
I
I
love
mean,
Pittsburgh,
you were
man.
just there, but
It's such a great city.
yeah,
It's one of
Pittsburgh's a
my
lot of
favorite
fun.
cities in America.
Oh, there we go. Jets
Oh.
pass rush finally gets home.
Welcome, Will McDonald.
Yeah, that's your guy. You were a big Will
I was a
McDonald guy.
big Will
You had
McDonald guy. I still am a big Quinnen Williams guy. He got there too,
oh
but
well, big Q for sure. Um, Interestingly enough, we had a chat. Somebody asking a ways back. We had a super chat. How do you think the Hassan Reddick basically saga ends?
I'm
At this point, it's going to
he's
be tough.
he's down
We're
like 8
beyond where,
million. Like you can't make
yeah,
that back.
no, we're beyond where it makes sense. The point where push really comes to shove, the first point for that is when the real games start. We're obviously well past that. The next point where push comes to shove is what is it, week 8 now, I guess. Half season when you start losing the ability to count it as an accrued season towards your
Yeah,
pension.
that's the big one.
Right. And that's right about the same time as a trade deadline. So those two happen very, very closely. And that's at that point, it's uh, poop or get off the pot, right? Like go play and accrue your season or get traded so that, you can be traded to a contender at a deadline. And that's when sort of the things will heat up again. Right now, they're kind of in a lull. There's no reason to do anything for another 5 weeks. Everybody's just going to wait everybody out. And then there'll be the next influence point, which will be, hey, man, if you don't get busy, you lose the season. And if we don't get busy, we can't trade you. We lose your value as an asset. So the two sides have a little bit more motivation on their own side, might get something done at that point. If nothing gets done at that point, it would be historically, there's not a lot of precedent for that.
The only one I
Guys
can think of
basically,
is Le'Veon.
yeah, guys
That's it.
basically come back at that point and just go, look, you know, I'll have a low ankle sprain for, 6 out of the next 8 weeks.
I have a cough. Can't
That's
play.
right.
Sorry.
I have a bruise. I can't play. So we'll see. Jets trying again, not very inventive run stuff against a Patriots front seven that is quite skilled in fitting not very inventive run stuff.
So I'm looking okay. Well, I'm not looking okay on this second one. Luckily, these are both flexed entries, so I only need 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Brees is having a nice first quarter, so he's on pace to shatter my dreams. Garrett Wilson hasn't done much yet. Aaron Rodgers, we're still looking all right on that one. Demario Douglas just needs 25 and a half more yards. You got 1, so okay, we're on the board.
Oh. Okay. Uncharacteristically inaccurate Aaron throw to the edge. Tremendous catch. One-hander. That's fantastic.
If you got Brees and PPR tonight, you're pretty happy.
Yeah. No, you're not. You're not sad yet. Boy, Robert Saleh has the Robert Saleh face on the sideline. He has like 2 faces, like completely consternated or a little confused.
Sometimes both.
Yeah, those are the 2. And right now he's looking consternated because Tyler Conklin has him holding. But yeah. Oh, against Marcus. Boy, there's a mismatch size-wise.
Yeah, right.
Marcus versus Conklin. Marcus is a feisty dude, but not a big dude.
Well, unfortunately, I have to go 4 for 4 on the rest of this slip because I needed Ramondre to get 15 and a half first quarter rushing yards, and he got 4. So,
yeah, don't love that.
not great for me.
Not great, Bob. All right. Jets backed up 2nd and 12. Only through the first, been a bit of a slow first quarter. It's taken quite a while to get through this. Jets, again, 2nd down run. Bet you love that.
I mean, Brees is one of the only guys who can make that work.
Yeah, and didn't. All right, we got a commercial break, and I want to get to a super chat from iHowdy for $10. Thank you very much, iHowdy. This is a great question. I want to answer it. How do you guys keep up with the little things so well on every single team? I feel like I put a fair amount of time into following the game, but you guys are like beat writers for all 32 teams. First, I appreciate the compliment, but that's a discredit to beat writers everywhere. They work extremely hard. And quite frankly, we lean on a lot of them. We know a lot of them. And we follow their work. We follow them on Twitter. I'd say the first way that we do that is curating the information that we see, because there is too much information out there and you need to figure out who has the most useful information and who can get it to you the best, and that means with the most quality most often. And that's just trial and error. It's following people and figuring out who's right more often, who's wrong more often, who sees trends earlier than other people do, who deliver that information in a way that you can understand it, and then following them and interacting with them. There's lots of them out there. Finding a good one for each team is a really good idea. And then we've got lots of other folks that we've cultivated relationships with, whether they're other creators, folks that work within teams, folks in the media that do our job, quite frankly, and keeping up with that. And then the last one is just working really hard. Like, the first thing I do when I get up is flip my phone on and scroll through and see what I've missed. And I get up pretty early. And then I come down to the computer. And this morning I was doing research for this game. I was watching the last Jets game, watching the last Patriots game, making notes, looking at next gen stats, seeing if my conclusions were correct or if that was counter to what was actually happening. And then it was reaching out to people and saying, hey, what are you seeing? You know, checking in on shows and clips and whatever else, kind of keeping your finger on the pulse. The other night, I'm not super proud to say, wife came down to bed and she was like, are you still working? I had my phone. I was like, ish.
Technically,
Like,
there's a screen on, so yeah.
That's what I do to go to bed, is again do the same thing I do when I get up, and I go to bed pretty late. So during football season, I have like a 5-hour gap or a 6-hour gap where I sleep, and I look at the news before I go to bed, and I look at the news when I get up, and I do that pretty much every day. I take a little bit of Friday off, and I take about half Saturday off. Other than that, during the season, that's the only way. There's so much information. Things change so quickly. I appreciate that you see it and that you enjoy it and that you come and consume our content because of it. It is difficult. It takes a lot of work. We've both been doing this for a good number of years. That not only means we have more contacts, but we're also more practiced at it. Like, it's a muscle. You grow it. It's something you do. And I don't think there's another way to have that level of detail. I've not found it. If there is, let me know, because I could spend a lot less time. That would be awesome.
The key is the off-season series, because that sets the table for
100%.
everything in the season, right? It's
100%.
it's having roster familiarity and scheme familiarity from doing that series for 2 months. So another huge play for Alan Lazard.
I'm like, oh my God. I'm surprised he hasn't texted already. Probably the only reason he hasn't is because he has an infant and he's probably not watching this. Oh man, I'm gonna get it from Jay tomorrow for
Peppers
sure, and I
might have
deserve it.
Got cleated.
Yeah,
Trying to see what happened to Jabril here. Oh yeah, he got leg whipped by Keon White. That doesn't feel good.
no, Keon White is a very solid football player. Physically,
from a physics perspective, yes, he's dense.
Physically, is a very solid football player. That's gonna sting a little bit. So, Howdy, glad you appreciate it. Glad you see it. That's it. Hard work and a lot of practice. If there's a shortcut, I would love it, because that would be great. If I could spend like 5 hours a week and know what I know, that'd be tremendous.
All right, we just hit on the Brees Hall reception.
Nice.
I think that went for 15. So I think we just got that one.
All right.
So I need 2 more tackles from Keon White. And I need Aaron Rodgers to not throw for 3 yards for the next 14 minutes of game clock.
That's not great. Does the Jabril Peppers tackle with the leg whip count? Sorry.
So I think this one might be screwed. So that's why we always have 2, folks.
That's why we always have 2.
Oh, Braylon Allen just running through human beings.
Yeah,
So big, so strong.
this is the Trevor and Connor moment. They were both big Braylon Allen guys.
Just watch how he takes on this contact. Like he doesn't even really lower, and the safety just
No.
bounces off of him.
Yep. He's just like, no, mine. He
That's
just sort of braced. He just pulled his arms in and kept running.
You know what that
It's
reminded me of?
fantastic.
Brandon Jacobs. That's a Brandon Jacobs type run.
Oh, very good pull. Speaking of how to counter too high, again, our
Brandon
buddy Trevor,
Jacobs.
our buddy Trevor Sikkema said, "Here, I got your outlaws for too high right here," and posted like Marshawn and a bunch of other guys again from his era, and I was like, man, you got to add in like Okoye and Natron Means and Barry
Uh-huh.
Word, and I can go on forever, but like, and I sent him a Christian Okoye video because I realized that a lot of guys were not around for Christian Okoye's tenure of terror, and that's a football player right there. If you've never seen Christian Okoye highlights, go find some. They are super duper fun.
Until he
Also,
met Steve Atwater. You know.
that's such bullshit, though. Like, I hate that so much. And actually, the video I sent him has him absolutely running Atwater the fuck over like multiple times because that's what he did.
But
And
which
Atwater
one do we
cracked him.
remember, EJ?
No, Atwater teed him up and cracked him once after getting road graded like multiple times. And yes, that's the one everybody remembers. But Okoye gave him the business like on the field
Hey,
many times before that.
nobody remembers Vernon Davis stiff arming Cam Chancellor. Just saying.
Vernon Davis was a crazy
It
athlete
was
too.
great. It's great. It was about to
No.
just become a guys naming dudes stream.
Yeah, it was so
5
close.
seconds.
It was so close. Oh man,
Great
I'm
throw.
telling you, just but look at the ease still. Like I, I swear he made a deal, and whatever God he prays to reached down and touched that arm and gave him the thunderbolt because that is just the ease of that action. Hackett's like, you made me look amazing. That's so great. The flick that he still has, even with no base and whatever, like he never really needed the base anyways, but he still got it. And when he lets those things go, it is really, really impressive.
Mike Williams sighting.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go. That's the thing. Patriots front seven, it's
They're
loaded. It's
not.
just people don't know their names, but like they're so talented up front.
But they're going to bring it every week. And again, you are not going to get away with fairly basic run game against the Patriots. You're just not.
Whew. God, he got there with a quickness.
Yep.
Hockey says, honestly, that shot of Malort wasn't terrible, probably because I swallowed it before it could even touch my tongue. Fuck the Malort League. Yeah, Hockey's was one of the low. Who's the
Hockey's
low
lost.
scorer? Low scorer. This week.
Who was the other loser this week?
Whoever had to play against somebody that put up 220 on them.
Whoa, 220. Look out. All right, Jets are rolling here. Jets are crank. What is it about the second quarter for the Jets? They really feel like they've got things going in the second quarter.
Oh, it was Blind Eye. Blind Eye was the other loser.
Oh,
again, I expect videos posted in the Discord of these shots. We need evidence.
Look at the accuracy of this throw. Look at where it hits. That's amazing.
Right here.
I mean, there's not a better perfect location. Leaning towards the way he wants to take the receiver right in front of his face. If he drops that one, it's so on him. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers throwing a football, as much as he's tormented my team, it's still physically a joy to watch him throw football. He's one of the best ever to do it.
Boy, these Jets running backs are having a nice night. This is a physical, aggressive front seven, and they're taking it to him.
And you got to give credit to the line and the tight ends, too, because he didn't even get contact to the 1 yard line. So this is what the Jets, 11 play drive, 90 yards, going on 7.5 minutes of clock. This is what they hoped this offense would be. Those great, super accurate throws from Rodgers sprinkled in with some good hard running. Oh, he
Oh
tried to
man,
thread
he
one.
almost had that too. That was
He
kind of a
tried to
diabolical
thread it.
throw.
Yeah,
He put it right there.
it again. Not many quarterbacks are even gonna uncork that one, and he did it. He did it with the certainty that if anybody caught it, it was going to be Conklin. It's a pretty low percentage pass, let's be honest. But if there was a chance he was going to catch it, that's the place where he was going to get it.
That's the kind of
So
bullshit ball that like Jordy would catch back in the day, where there's
sure.
no other human that would try it other than like Pat.
Oh, he spins it in.
I don't know. Did his butt hit the ground?
Did it?
I think they said it did.
Okay.
We'll
That's where
see.
they're spotting it.
It's 4th and goal.
This
I'd just go for it.
this replay will be better.
Oh, he's
No,
in.
that's a
That's a
score, dude.
touchdown. That's a
He
touchdown.
scored. 100% he scored. Wow. Okay.
Look at the balance to stay up because
he was just like
he caught his toe and then kind of
Yep.
he just he kept himself afloat a little bit longer.
that's the old alligator roll for a touchdown. Yeah, he's in before anything touches. Like there's not even really contact on his knee before he is fully over the goal line.
Oh man, what a run! I know it's like a yard, but what a run!
I boy, a lot of physical skill. Yeah, that's a fantastic challenge. Unlike what I'm used to when I'm watching my team play football and the challenge flag comes out, I feel dread. Here, I'm like, yeah, go for it. You're going to get points out of this one, man.
That to me was the most
he is.
impressive Jets drive this year, even more so than the one in week 1. Because what they did right there feels sustainable, A, and B,
Right.
that kind of feels like what they wanted to be.
Yeah, and multiple, sort of balanced, right? They weren't leaning purely on Aaron or the quick game or deep strikes to Garrett or just pounding the rock, 3 out of every 4 downs. Neither one of those feel particularly sustainable. You have to be able to sort of balance it, do both, change them up, keep the defense off balance. And they did that during that drive, and they get points out of it, rightfully so. They earned it. And yeah, if you're a Jets fan, that's got to be sort of heartening. Yeah, that's what my team can be. That's what my offense can do. And we hadn't really seen it. We saw a flash of it in week 1. We saw, I don't even think it was as diverse in that second half drive, or sorry, end of the first half drive against Tennessee where they scored, because that was just quick game from really 40 yards in, and they scored. Like, that's great. You'll take the points any way you can get them, but it doesn't feel as replicable.
We had a super chat from Jason for 25. Thank you, Jason. Which head coach will be the first one taken the door, and when will it be? So I have kind of mixed feelings on this, because if we're talking about first coach fired, I think the first coach to have his seat be scorching hot is going to be Doug Peterson. The thing is, the Jags ownership group, Shad Khan, like it takes a lot to fire somebody really quickly. Urban was the exception, not the rule. If you look at all their other coaches, it takes a long time for them to kind of get to that point where it's like, okay, we should fire somebody midseason. So it's like, it's one of those, I think Doug Peterson might deserve to go pretty quickly here because the Jags are way underperforming, but I don't necessarily know if he will be the first to get fired.
Okay.
And then you look at like the rest of Dennis Allen, like they're going to be way too good, even though I think the secret sauce there is not Dennis Allen, it's Clint Kubiak. Like he's not going to get fired.
But he's still going to get credit for it. Like that's the way head coaching is. If you hire a great coordinator and he tears it up, you get the benefit of that.
Can I interest you in a flyer?
Sure.
Sean Payton.
I think the patience with Peyton in the Broncos building is greater than what it is everywhere else. Like I really do think people are going to start to go, so what is it you do here? And what have you done since Drew Brees? Like
Mm-hmm.
in the end of your Saints tenure or in your time here, you had Russell, now you've got Bo, you tried it with Taysom. Like what exactly have you done since Drew Brees retired? I think that call is going to get louder and louder. I don't necessarily think the Broncos building is going to be influenced by that very quickly at all, but that you're already hearing it. You're going to start hearing more and more of that, especially if the Broncos losses pile up. If he starts to lose the locker room, if the players start to gripe outside, which is not typically something that happens in a Peyton locker room, if that starts to happen, then the building might start quote unquote listening to it. But I don't think it might be surprising to some people. It's not super surprising to me.
Jaden says Sirianni is getting canned for sure. IMO. So it's very realistic that the Eagles start 1-3. The middle of their schedule is a lot softer. They could probably claw their way back into it in the middle of the season. But it does kind of seem like the Eagles are going to underperform for expectations, and at that point, I think the Eagles are like ripe for a January move more so than an in-season move, unless things go completely off the rails and they start losing even more games like in the middle of their schedule, which is it's a softer middle.
Right.
If they drop games there, okay, then we can have that conversation. But this kind of feels like a middling Eagles season that's like 9-8 or something like that, and they're like, we're paying a bunch of money for this team. We should be doing better than this. Let's go get, insert former Shanahan assistant here.
Oh, by the way, Brett, I meant to mention to you, you had brought up the first kicker to master the low line drive that skips in the landing zone.
Yeah.
The Jets pulled it off last week against Tennessee.
Yeah, teams are starting to try it. They're starting to
Yeah.
try it. Brandon
Yeah.
Aubrey's tried it a lot.
Yep.
It's a thing.
Yep, for sure. I don't disagree. Boy, look at the accuracy on that entire drive as they're just clipping all these throws together. Like, look at all of them. He had one inaccurate ball earlier. And again, I sort of, gasped and grasped my pearls because it never happens with Aaron. So when you see one random, like, holy cow, that throw was way off. And it's not even that way off. Again, the running back did catch it. You go, what's wrong? And then he comes back and drills like 8 of them in a row, just perfectly.
Sub-Zero says that his other RB option between Swift and Antonio Gibson
I saw.
was Braylon. I would have been tempted. I would have been tempted.
Yeah, I think after last week's performance, Braylon started to, again, have some highlights that looked better. Oh, there it is.
I know, but I need it in the first quarter.
No. That's why I told you I didn't like that pick when you said it. I was
Doesn't
like,
help anybody.
I liked the pick, and then you got to the part where, it has to happen in the first 15 minutes, and I was like, I don't like it as much.
There is a flag, though, that might be coming back.
Right. Those are the runs that I was expecting from Ramondre tonight because those are bread and butter for him inside.
Oh, they're calling
offensive
face mask?
Face mask? Yeah, because he hooked him. He hooked him and basically tore his helmet off. Like,
which,
all right, yeah.
By the way, don't do that. That's how you fuck up your pinkies and have it dislocated on you. It's not smart to do that.
What? You mean they end up looking like this?
You ever? No, dude. Have you seen Brian Baldinger?
I'm just kidding.
It's like a 90-degree angle.
No, I have. Yeah, it's not super great, and a lot of former
it's
receivers.
like my thumb, which I don't know if you're squeamish. Look away, people. But I have a double jointed thumb, and it's on both hands actually.
Oh, he got it too. Stevenson's off the field and he's holding his hand.
There we go.
Yeah, they're working on Ramondre right now.
Yeah, that's how you dislocate a pinky.
Dude, it's not great to get your finger caught in a face mask. Not fun.
Chat is like, why did I look?
Why did I look? That's when they show the injury on TV and they're telling you you're going to show it. Like, don't do it. Uh-oh. Do we get a hit on defenseless? What do we get here? It's either late or defenseless or both.
Can't quite tell.
No. I gotta say, this particular ump looks pretty mad. He looks like he's telling his kids' friends to get off his lawn. It's like, I spent a lot of time on that lawn. You tore it up. Get out of my yard.
I said, put the remote
10
back on the
yards.
console. Don't leave it in the couch cushions. God damn it.
All right, here it is, 44. Yeah,
Yeah.
defenseless into the head. Yep,
Yeah.
head and neck. That's gonna get you. What the fuck, yo, Brett? Oh man, people still tripping on your thumbs.
He kind of caught sauce on that more than he got. Like,
Yeah, it wasn't. Again, it wasn't malicious, but they're gonna call it every time.
but I'm saying, like, you got more friendly fire on it than anything.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, we got
Patriots rip one off outside. That's a nice
with,
looking play.
with Pop Douglas, too. Let's
Yep.
go.
Hey, get him his touches. Whether or not he's getting catches, get him his touches. We do love us some Demario Douglas. Brett is a superhuman. Yes, he is. It has nothing to do with his thumbs. It more so has to do with his ability to absorb caffeine.
Yeah. Hey, I've only had 4 shots today. I'm
Twice.
under my average. So.
You've only had 4 shots today, twice. Oh, the blitz circle actually caught the blitzer. Oh,
he got out of it. Oh my god.
No.
They called in the grasp?
They called in the grasp.
Oh, come
And
on.
rightfully so, dude. If you get quarterbacks who are like, but I could have stood here. Yeah, well, you can also get hit then when your legs are basically wrapped up. You want that? No.
The reason why I don't like it as much is because I feel like it punishes really big, strong quarterbacks like Jacoby Brissett that take a long time to get on the ground.
No, I fully agree.
Like when a lion's hanging off a water buffalo, do we get refs coming in there like, whoa, buffalo, you're dead now. You have to be dead. Like, no. Run into the goddamn river. Get the cat off your neck. Like.
Oh, deep shot from the Patriots, not going to connect, but they did take it. Oh,
there, late flag.
Late flag for Tyquan Thornton. They're like, sure, we got 6 minutes left and a half. Let's see if we can get ourselves a chunk play from the refs. And they did.
Who was just watching lions attack buffaloes? You ever seen Planet Earth? It's great.
Or Planet Earth 2.
Or Planet Earth 2. Or what was the ocean one? I think it's just called Oceans.
No, it's
They're great. All of them are awesome.
Yeah, we bought them for Christmas for the kids a long time ago. Something, I want to say something blue, but could be wrong. Chat, help us out. We're struggling.
Deep Blue Sea? No, not Deep Blue Sea. Although Deep Blue Sea, classic.
Not deep, not Deep Blue Sea.
Tired of these motherfucking
good night.
sharks.
Oh man.
See?
Brissett is tired of these
Blue
rushers.
Planet. There we go.
Blue Planet. See, it was blue something. There you go. Blue Planet. Appreciate it. I've watched the whole thing multiple times with the kids. I just can't remember the name of it. And it is a classic.
I might watch that tonight. I think
Planet Earth.
My post-game fall asleep too.
Yeah. That I don't know if people realize that, like how wound up this gets you, like being on for 4.5 hours. And it's super enjoyable, and we really enjoy bringing it to you all, but there's definitely a like period after Thursday night football where you're just kind of like buzzing but extremely tired.
Yeah, there is a come down for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
LL Cool J with sharks. It's a good way to describe it.
Sure, that's the Hollywood pitch. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about LL Cool J with sharks. Oh, well, that sounds great. Yeah, God, New England, time of possession. Not a lot of plays.
This deep into the second quarter, you get the ball for 8 minutes. My God.
And you've played 15 plays on offense. That's not great. Okay.
I would like to see them
Somebody
get
was.
Polk a little bit more involved.
You mean like involved at all?
Involved at all. That'd be
Involved at
nice.
all would be
Yeah.
what you're looking for sure. Oh man, CJ Mosley's got snacks. I did not bring snacks. Well, do you remember the last season when I brought crunchy snacks?
Damn near wanted to mute your mic every
Everybody
5 seconds.
was just like, God, EJ, wrong snack. I was like, man, I haven't eaten all day.
It's
Like,
like,
what am
why
I
is he
supposed to
eating the chips made out of glass and dynamite? Good God.
That's right. The dynamite glass chips, they're tasty. That's, I expected we would see more of that. I expected we would see more field goals. I'm surprised. I would have failed that bet if first field goal in this game is with 3 minutes to go in the first half. I would have said much earlier than that. So
The Millen for $5 with Scruggs and Patterson maybe out this weekend versus the Vikings. What's the over under on CJ stacks? How can they mitigate the Flores pass rush?
good question.
It really comes down to, because you're never going to know exactly how many guys are rushing and how many are dropping, right? The whole defense is designed to screw up the picture, right? They're going to call crazy coverages out of crazy looks. Sometimes you're getting 3, sometimes you're getting 7. You don't know what's 0 and what's not. And so when it comes to how the Texans should be attacking that, I tend to think, okay, if they're dropping 8, there's still going to be some kind of structure to it, right? It's still either going to be a 2 deep, a 4 deep, a 3 deep, because usually that bonus dropper, like it's not going to be 5 deep. That bonus dropper is still going to be underneath. So just don't attack underneath. For me, it's a lot of 7-man pass pro so that we can account for the blitzes when they happen, and deep shots, because everything is a one-on-one when it's 25 yards down the field, whether it's 2 deep or 3 deep. Now, if it's 2 deep, okay, we're probably going to be more focusing on, trying to stress that deep safety, even though it's an 8-man coverage. We want to stress that deep safety to the boundary side with a vertical to the boundary and a middle seam, and then we want another vertical on the other side. Probably with an inside release, because we're trying to catch that safety's eyes. We want to make him late to that middle seam, and then we're reading the boundary side to see if he's kind of overplaying that boundary side vertical, or if he's going to be kind of squeezing on that middle seam, and then you just trust CJ to make the throw, right? But you want to attack them vertically while prioritizing protection, because protection is everything against this type of system. The last thing you want to do is gamble with 5 or 6, and then they're bringing 6 or 7, and you got free runners at your young phenomenal quarterback all day. I would rather have CJ with 3 seconds of time and then have to extend and make something happen, rather than CJ have to be throwing hot all day and then having your receivers get lit up because they're running into a bonus dropper that's like waiting there to decapitate them. So that's how I think they're going to do it, because that's how they've handled other blitz heavy systems before, especially when they've handled blitz heavy systems with backup linemen. So that's just a theory for me.
Okay, Brett, I want your honest and unfiltered reaction.
Yeah.
Check the schedule and then look directly into the camera when you get to next week's Thursday night game.
What is it, like Panthers? Week 4. God damn it. What?
We got to come up with
why are they doing this to us?
Raffles or something. We gotta have like Giants football bingo or something, because that's gonna be
dude.
That's gonna be a struggle.
Chat.
We didn't get him.
First of all, Braylon Allen is made of iron. Second of all, I'm going to be drunk when we go live next week. I'm just gonna be pre-drunk. Just so
I'm thinking that pre-funk might be a thing next week, because Cowboys Giants next week for everybody tuning in. I know, sell the sizzle. Oh man, Josh Uche.
I think I might do a Malort shot like every single
Oh,
time
oh, oh,
Danny turns it over. At least for the
oh
content, got to
no.
make the stream entertaining somehow.
Well, we'll make it entertaining, but don't do that because you'll die. That won't be great. Death is not as entertaining as you might think. Yeah, I'm thinking Giants football bingo. I'll try and work something up for that.
Giants bingo.
Yeah.
Every time you say why, Danny, why?
Why, anyway? No, what I'll do is I'll reach out to Adam and see if he can't help me out with it. And then if I really want to be vindictive, I'll reach out to Bengal.
Hey man, he's on cloud nine right now. Texas is number one.
Yeah, he's got
He's
this in the
great.
college ranks and he's got this in the pro ranks. So he's just not looking at the NFL at all right now. He is looking purely at college, like, no, we're number one. Yeah. What about your pro team, Bengal? He's not looking that direction at all.
Cowboys probably lose to the Ravens on Sunday. I don't know. It's an interesting game. It's a very interesting game. And we talk about it in our preview show tomorrow, so I'm not going to spoil that. But one thing I do want to bring, I don't think we really talked about it in the preview show. Roger Rosengarten looked
Yeah,
pretty
we
darn
talked about
good.
it pre-show. We talked about it pre-show. Yeah, Rosengarten's been a roller coaster this year as a rookie, which hey, all rookie tackles are going to be, but the good looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just sort of breaks quickly and gets beaten badly.
Oh,
Oh,
what a throw though.
wow. Great throw, big shot from Marcus Jones on Conklin. He can deliver, but Conklin held on. That's a chunk play for the Jets. So Rosengarten, I really like him as a tackle, and I think he is going to be one of those players that evens out very, very nicely and is a very solid contributor for that team. But the early losses, like he came in week 1, and I was like, "Ooh, Rosengarten getting snaps," and like the second play in got beaten like a turnstile. I was like,
Well, it was
"Okay,
their
not
own
great."
fault because like he comes in
Oh,
and
I understand.
his first pass protection snap ever is against Chris Jones. Like,
Yep,
come on.
and Jones just walked by him like a not very stiff breeze. Like it was one of the quickest wins you're going to see in a pass rush this season. And no, it's not fair, and no, it's not fun. But we talk about this all the time. That hey, rookie, your first assignment is Max Crosby. Good luck. Like it happens, and you are going to get the occasional straight up, even as a rookie, 101 true deep pass set. No roll, no PA, nothing. Like you need to pass protect, 5-step drop. Like it's just you and whoever, you and the werewolf over there. So no, but Rosengarten's had a lot of very quality wins as well. So it's not like he's just losing. It's just when he loses, he's lost very, very quickly. And I think again that will meter out over time. I believe in his potential as a tackle, and I think he's going to be a really solid player in the NFL in this league. And it's just been a bit of a stark contrast between, ooh, that's a really nice rep. He basically stonewalled a very good NFL rusher, and then, oh yeah, he let that guy by in about 0.7 seconds. That's rough.
Sub Zero for $5. Hey, so I'd love a video about how much the anime Eye Shield 21 butchered football. I love the show, but it's a weird one. I'd recommend it to y'all. I have not personally seen it. So,
Can't say that I have, but
Chad, I would love to get your opinions on it.
I could ask my 13-year-old, and he may well have, because
He
he has
probably
hit
has.
the anime. He's hit the anime phase, so I can ask. And even if he hasn't seen it, I bet his friends have. So
Liam Briggs for 5 Australian. Some intriguing interconference games this week. Which one is the most likely Super Bowl preview, and why is it
oh
Texans at Vikings? So EJ, I'll give you the list of all the interconference games this week. So Giants at Browns, Texans at Vikings, Broncos at Bucks, Packers at Titans, Bears at Colts, Dolphins at Seahawks, Panthers at Raiders.
yeah,
Yeah. Ravens at Cowboys, Chiefs at Falcons, Commanders
yeah.
at Bengals.
I don't think it's Chiefs at Falcons. Had it not been for the Tua injury, we could have had a dark horse in Seahawks Dolphins. But I think the game named at the top with the Vikings and the Texans is probably just by attrition the most likely. That's how.
It's at least like, division round team against division round team. I don't know about
Yeah,
Super Bowl and Super Bowl.
it's two of the teams we think are most likely to be in the dance at the end. Their placements probably different, but I would say of all of those matchups in terms of which teams are going to be competitive down the stretch, right now it looks like those two would probably be the strongest of the matchups. There are other certainly playoff teams that we mentioned, but either they're playing somebody that's not or whatever. So when you're looking at the strength of the overall game, both teams involved, yeah, I think you're probably correct. Texans, Vikes.
All right, we got a fumble out of bounds here.
Yeah.
And I think they're
Again,
trying to see if he got to the marker or not. I don't think he did.
Yeah.
I think he's just short. Sad Mariners fan for $5. Brett, I drafted CMC, Cup, and Pacheco first, second, third round, 10-man league. When will the pain end?
Never.
Buddy, see you in 2025.
Yeah.
You fought valiantly. Sorry.
Yeah, that was nice, but no.
Yeah,
ouch. That is injury luck in the NFL. And our buddy, the injury doc, the football injury doc, said, does anybody know where the injury button is? And can we turn it off? Because he's had a lot of work over the first 2.5, 3 weeks here. It's, it's a long season. It's a tough game. Athletes are just bigger and faster. And yeah, there have been, we haven't even mentioned Jermaine Johnson going on IR for the year for the Jets. It's a big loss for them. Now, Will McDonald stepped up nicely tonight, which is great, but that doesn't happen for every team. They don't necessarily have that depth behind players that go out. San Francisco certainly, so far, it looks like Jordan Mason is doing just fine. They do have that depth, but there are definitely other players who are, we just talked about Tua, like Tua to Skylar Thompson, love Skylar, not playing at the same level, not likely to play at the same level that Tua does. So that's a huge drop off at a major position, and lots of teams are in that boat.
I did see a super chat earlier. I didn't catch the name because it disappeared from my queue, unfortunately, before we got to it. But it was, what do we think of the Skylar Thompson led Dolphins? And my answer to that is, what do we think about the Ryan Tannehill led Dolphins? Because I think that might be the more likely option.
People, that was the one that people brought up like immediately. But again, they had a chance to make a move and they brought in Tyler Huntley. So Skylar's going to play for now.
They did bring in Huntley.
I think Huntley is going to play for them this season. Like, I don't think they're just going to ride Skylar to the end. I think they're going to take however long it takes until they're comfortable with Huntley, whether it's 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever it is, until they feel like he knows enough of the playbook and the 2-minute drill and whatever else to get on the field. And then I think he will overtake Skylar because physically he's more talented than Skylar.
Oh, for sure. It's just my thinking with Tannehill is like Tannehill knows the verbiage, so he could just pop right in. Huntley,
that's what everybody's said.
I don't know if Huntley's ever played in this type of offense before.
No, and that's why it's a range of weeks where he'll be in, but I do believe he'll be in. It's early enough in the season. They did make a very directed move after Tua was placed on IR, and everybody said, "Oh, I think Tannehill's the play. Tannehill's the play. Tannehill's the play," and they haven't gotten Tannehill. Obviously, he's available, and they did go get Huntley. So, I think that's their, I don't want to say end game. I think that's their eventual for this season. They'd like to see how he'd play in that offense. I actually really want to see that. Again, I don't think he's played in that style of offense, but when he has had a chance to play for teams, I think he's played really well for the most part, and he showed a lot of promise. I actually reached out before the season. You and I had this discussion. I had this discussion with Doug Farrar and said, so if you put Tyler Huntley on this team, or this team, did they win more games this year, the same number of games, or less games? And several of those teams throughout the NFL, I think the answer is more games. He has that level of ability. We'll see if he has that level of consistency or whether or not he meshes with the system. Nice cutback by Brees.
God, Brees is having a great game.
Yeah, that was a really strong cut, which is one of the great strengths of his game coming from college that he has just continued to leverage The ability, as big and fast as he is, to just like stop and accelerate immediately in a different direction.
I think it just one last note closing out that question. I think one thing to consider is Tannehill said he only wanted to come back for a team that he could start on for the rest of the year. And I
Yeah.
think if he asked the Dolphins, "Hey, is Tua sitting out for the rest of the year?" and they said we don't know, it's possible he's like, it's not worth it then, So
Yeah, and you can be picky. I mean, Ryan Tannehill, let's be honest, has made quite a bit of money playing football in the
yeah,
NFL. He doesn't
his
necessarily need to go
he had a great
take unnecessary
career.
hits.
He had a great
For sure.
career, made $100 million plus. You know, he's fine.
Yep.
All
Alex
right,
Tracy asks, "How quick will it take for Parsons to beat Falele on on this inside?"
dude.
It'll happen, but he's gonna have to log some mileage. Parsons will, because Falele's arms are about 2.5 acres wide. Oh,
Oh, he had
that
him.
was the one.
He
That was
had
the
Garrett
one.
Wilson.
Wide open. That's a touchdown. He doesn't miss that throw very often. Ooh, Pepper's limping back to the locker room. Or is he limping back to the sideline after having gone to the locker room? That's right. Because he got leg
Oh,
whipped, right?
they called a legal shift, so that one was
Oh,
coming back regardless.
okay. This is one
Or
of
no,
the
illegal
one of
motion,
the
not legal shift.
topics. Yeah, one of the topics I hit at the top of the stream. Jets had trouble with penalties last week, and it wasn't a new problem for them. 7 for 70. And this one, I mean, he missed the throw, but that's a potential touchdown right there. He doesn't miss that very often.
And
Oh,
Gonzo, it looks like Gonzo just slipped.
yeah, and you're not going to get that very often either. That's
No,
like a once a game occurrence of all those things coming together. You got to hit that throw. Obviously, it comes back because of the penalty, which is kind of a bummer, but um, it's been a hindrance for the Jets. It's not just the amount of penalties or the yardage, it's that they come in fairly high leverage spots. Ooh, good tackle. Nice
did you
job.
see Garrett motions? Gonzo motions. Garrett goes back. Gonzo goes
After
back.
you saw what he did to DK statistically,
Yeah,
like
he's
you were
just
like,
following him,
he's
man. He's like, I'm
people
your
are
best
like,
friend tonight.
oh, yeah, they were like, oh, Gonzo might shadow Garrett Wilson. I was like, uh, I really don't think it's might, because Garrett is clearly the best receiver on the Jets. Like, you could say what you want about Alan Lazard. I realize you will. Garrett Wilson's clearly the best wide receiver on the Jets. If you can, great defenses do this. They take away one thing. Like, they will take away the thing you're best at and then say, beat us another way. And if you can put Gonzo on the best receiver on the other side of the field and say, basically, you're getting 5 receptions for like 40 yards and no touchdowns out of him, that's a huge deal. And it'll force, in this case, the Jets to do other things. So why wouldn't you do that? Like, there's no reason not to.
A lot of man. I would think it's at least 45% man coverage from the Patriots tonight, which is a lot. By the way, it's a
And
high
there it
percentage.
is. Little bit of a quick slant crosser from Williams. Again, I would like to see even more straight up crossers. And specifically, I want to see crossers from a bunch, from a stack, because they did it last week really effectively. And I think they could do it again.
Are they asking for a shot to the head there on top? Yeah,
So,
okay.
I
You can.
mean, you can ask. Did you see
Yeah,
that
they're
that
not.
was a bit of a no look from Rogers?
Yeah, I mean
Uh,
he's on fire tonight. He's doing
he's
great.
unconscious at that.
It's dare I say vintage Rogers night. He's not moving around that well, but as a thrower,
Yeah,
he's.
yeah.
I mean, he looks like the
He had a
same.
little bit of a wobble early on, and then he just leveled out. And since then, he's been lights out. I mean, he missed that throw to Wilson, which he really, quite frankly, should hit. But other than that, he's been pretty dialed.
Telling you, man, you just
Oh, nice catch.
pass protect and give him a clean pocket, and he's
Yep,
fucking jugs
yep.
machine.
Which, who it reminds me of in a certain way?
Hmm.
Microwave Kirk.
Yeah, but more.
Yeah, just on the hot streak, but like hotter.
Yeah, yeah.
Like again, you're not going to get him to move. You're not going to get him to run. You're not going to get big, boot action stuff out of him. But when he's just throwing darts, and he can still do that quite obviously, like at a higher level even than microwave Kirk. Like when Rodgers is dialed in and throwing darts, like yeah, just give him a pocket. Don't ask him to do other stuff, and give him some targets. They don't even necessarily have to be open. Oh
Oh,
man. Okay. He just threw that one at the camera, but
well, I thought Garrett was about to break left in the back
he's
of the end zone. I thought
pissed.
Rodgers was trying to find it, but he was just tossing it.
He's pissed
He's pissed about
about
something.
something. I don't
I
know what he's
I
pissed
think there
about,
was
but
a
he is
hold down the
mad.
field, or he thought he saw a hold down the field, maybe on Garrett.
Did you see the velocity that he put on that ball without stepping
Yeah,
into it?
that's what's weird. Is like he
It's
looks like he has
ridiculous.
not lost any gas on his arm at all.
No,
Again, there is a
none.
clear difference in how he can run, but his arm is the same.
You know what it reminds me of? A little bit?
Dan
That
Marino.
particular thing? No, no, it does not. That's a different thing entirely. It reminds me of late career Brady.
Oh
when we were
yeah,
like when
yeah.
we were like, man, he's gonna fall off, and then he had like even more gas, and we were all like, what is he taking?
It's the avocados.
It's the avocado tequila. Yeah, no, I if I could get that from avocado tequila, that's what I would be drinking this evening. But like to see guys this late in their career and have extremely live arms, like that was it was a chuck out of bounds. It wasn't supposed to be towards anybody, but to just be able to like rip it through the uprights from 40, 45 yards out with no base is not normal.
What do we think every time he goes out in the desert and does ayahuasca? That's just code for just pumping himself full of HGH.
Sure. Absolutely. Why not? Horse pills of this stuff.
Jaden is asking, "Hey Brett, does the NFL plan on adding more advanced metrics and stats on NFL Pro? Been awesome, by the way. Overtime, like coverage percentage, et cetera, et cetera." To my knowledge, they don't plan on adding coverage percentage because that would require charting it, and I don't think they have
Oh, I missed him again.
the army of charters necessary to do such a
The
thing,
army
like
of
what PFF
charters.
has. PFF has like 50
No,
people that
I
do
just
that.
all I can think of when you say Army of Charters is Army of Darkness. I'm sorry. Great film.
Fucking chainsaw. But no,
Yeah.
I don't think they plan on hiring dozens upon dozens of people to chart every snap of every game to do that. That's more of a PFF thing, and that's just because PFF makes so much money from the teams that they work with for charting that data for them that it's like, what the hell, did that get tipped? I might got tipped.
Greg the Leg.
Somebody looked like they got a handle on it because that thing like UFO'd on him. All right, laces out. No, it
Whoa.
just went.
Well,
Huh.
somehow he ended up with a lateral rotation on that
That's what I'm
thing,
saying.
which
It
is,
started vertical and then just wobbled.
you know what that looks like? That looks like me off the tee box after not playing for like 10 years.
You're so confident, and then you're just
No,
nailing
it's like
cars on the
great for the
freeway.
first like 80 yards and then just like hard right into the trees. People are like, how did that happen? Like aerodynamically, how is that possible? And you're like, I trust me, I can do it again. I will. Oh, nice little rip from Brissett. Getting late here. Not
So they're
really going to make any difference, but I
setting
like the
up a Hail
throw.
Mary. Seems like it.
It's as close as they're going to get, but it was a nice little throw.
Bootleg movie night for Army of Darkness.
Oh my, no, what I really need is any graphic designers or anybody that's good with Photoshop. I need Roger Goodell's head on.
Careful now.
Yeah, yeah. on the movie poster for Army of
Okay,
Darkness.
okay, you landed that
Okay.
plane. Okay,
I'm
It's
working
like,
on it. Very careful.
head on a what, EJ?
Yeah, right. Bootleg calls for Roger Goodell's head on a stick. No, no, we did not. Uh, yeah.
Oh man! All right, here we go.
Oh,
Took a big
he
hit.
took a shot. That was, oh man.
Yeah, I hope the
So
bruised
you want
rib
to
was
play
worth it.
quarterback? You want to play quarterback in the NFL, kids? Really? Here's what you get to do. Super low percentage. Huck it up and take a shot in the ribs while you're doing it. Ooh, man.
That's just a painful experience for everybody. The people in the end
Yeah,
zone, the
it
people in
didn't.
the
Yeah,
pocket. It's just
it didn't look good. Uh all right. Oh, Icelandic Fart Police is back for $5. I appreciate that. Hey guys, I was able to catch the stream live this time. Cool. Who puts up the first 50 burger this year? And is it on the Broncos again?
if the Saints wanted to, they could have done it
I
last week.
I was gonna say Saints offense is the probably their first 50 burger. Against whom? Whomst? You just have to look at their schedule and see what the bad defenses are, but Saints are probably the most likely there.
I mean, it's Saints Eagles this week. I'm not discounting the
I
possibility.
It's possible, but I doubt it. Like the Eagles can put up more resistance than that typically. Um,
Can I give you a
but
sneaky one?
yeah, go for it.
Hawks Dolphins this week.
Ooh, the Hawks, Gino going nuts on the Dolphins tee.
It's more so Gino getting 5 extra possessions from Skylar Thompson.
Maybe that I could see just straight up on the Dolphins D again. Like the Dolphins D line is pretty darn good, and I was doing a bunch of research for that game today, and um, like the Dolphins are built on a very specific platform, and the platform is we are going to get pressure on the quarterback quickly. We don't really care if we sack him. Like we'd like that. We'd like to finish and all, but we are, if you look at their time to pressure the quarterback, it's really low. It's like fourth or fifth in the league, maybe sixth. It's fast. Like they're one of the fastest defenses to get to the quarterback in the NFL. And then they're going to basically say, you're not going to get any big shots because you're not going to have time to develop them. Like you're not going to have time to throw big play action balls down the field. That's not going to happen. So we are going to pressure the quarterback as quickly as we can, and then we're going to rally and tackle because their yak over expected as a defense is one of the lowest in the league. So we're going to make you get the ball out really quickly. When it gets to wherever it's going, which is short to medium at best, we're going to tackle, and we're just going to stack plays in a possession in which we believe you can make mistakes. So it's very complementary defense between that defensive line, which pressures extremely quickly, and then the defense, which just rallies and tackles with very little added yak. So fascinating defense to take a look at.
So I'm doing some halftime entries right now. So I'm taking.
All right. I will let you do that, and I will do my favorite thing to give you a little bit of time for a halftime entry. All right,
You're
chat.
gonna
You
go
know
get your
my favorite
halftime beer.
Well, I'm going to do that, but first I'm going to set chat off kind of like a firecracker. All right, chat. My favorite time of the week. Type in where you are watching this game from. Love to see that we have fans all over the world, literally all over the world. Throw the city, country, you name it, in the chat right now. We'll let that light up. Brett will get the second half slip going. I will get a fresh beverage because this one's gone. And we will get ready for whatever the second half of Jets and Patriots is going to be.
All right. So far, chat, I have Aaron at higher than 1.5 passing TDs. He's got 1 right now. So I think he's going to throw 1 more in the second half. I'm taking Garrett at higher than 36.5 receiving. He's got 15 right now. Gonzo's done a good job, but they are trying to get him the ball. So I think he can get 20 yards in the second half. Let's go Jalen Polk higher than 18.5 receiving because I think they're going to have to throw. And then is there a Jacoby Brissett number here? Do I have Attempts? Attempts, maybe? Let's go
Oh man,
passing
yet again
TDs.
the part of Georgia that doesn't get Falcons games. Okay. Oh man.
All right, here we go.
Vietnam, we've had Germany, Canada,
All right, I'm going to throw this into chat so you guys can tail it if you like,
or faded if you think he's silly.
or fade it if you think I'm dumb. So, again, it
Oh,
is out, or nope, not that one.
Caleb checking in from Turkey. Let's go.
So, second half here. Garrett Wilson higher than 36.5 receiving, so he needs 21 more yards. Jalen Polk at higher than 18.5 receiving, so he needs 17 more yards. Jacoby Brissett needed him to throw one touchdown. Oh, it accidentally took Alvin Kamara there. That's cool.
Oops.
Alvin Kamara is probably going to score.
That's cool.
Aaron Rodgers higher than one and a
Oh
half passing
man.
TDs. He has one right now, so I just need him to throw one more. So we'll know by the end of the night if this has a shot to make me about $150. We'll see.
To clean up the Faroe Islands. All right.
Wow, they have
Cylinder
internet there?
Jensen. Yes, they do.
It's gorgeous there, by the way. I
Yeah.
have to imagine it's really hard to get internet on the Faroe Islands.
Yeah. Well,
Isn't that
you're
like
gonna
one of the
see
most
it.
isolated places on Earth?
Well, you're gonna see it more often because of Starlink, right?
That's
Like
true.
Starlink you can take Starlink almost anywhere and still get internet. So Morocco, Vietnam, Faroe Islands, Canada. I saw Mexico earlier. Australia's checking in as usual. Big ups to Down Under. Michigan, Kansas, Champaign, University of Illinois. There you go. Philippines, Dominican Republic. God, I love this. This is one of the best parts of my week, I swear.
Overbrook, Kansas. That's right outside of KC, I think, right? If I recall correctly. I think it's like on the on the Kansas side of KC, I think. Off the top of my head.
Connor Broderick, my dorm. So specific, Connor. Minneapolis, West Michigan, Tijuana, Mexico. Nice. Lots of Northeasterners, New Hampshire. I was going to say, oh, Chester. I had a boss from Westchester growing up. This is a tough dude.
Adelaide, South Australia. How about that?
New West, BC. There you go. Des Moines. Which Des Moines? Iowa or Washington?
There's
Appalachian.
two.
Your closet. Yeah, Des Moines is just
There's a
north
Des
of
Moines,
where I am.
Washington, and a. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we got
That.
glow in the dark frisbee catching dogs halftime show. We can't keep up with that. Sorry, chat. We don't have glow in the dark dogs. Olympia, right down the road. UMass Amherst, nice. Indy, Shawnee, Kansas, Cincinnati, Springfield, different Springfield, Massachusetts.
He said there's no way
Yeah.
that Kamara's line is at one TD of any type. It is, believe it or not. So that's why I took it, because it's about as.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's free, but
Oh,
it's
Mikhail Bolt says
pretty likely.
Ashland, Oregon. I'm going to drive through Ashland on the way to your house.
Ashland. Where's Ashland? Is that on the west side?
Southern Oregon. No, I'm not
By,
actually
like,
going
Humboldt?
all the way to Ashland. No, I mean it's north of that, but it's slightly farther in too. So they have a great Shakespeare festival there, as a matter of fact.
Of course you know that.
Only because I used to work in a place where we would send an alumni group to go down there every year. So not me. Oh, Puyallup, right over the hill. Nicely done. Ew Beach. Hey, we saw one of your quarterbacks at Elite 11. Man, that guy can rip it.
Yeah,
he was impressive.
I think he committed to.
He did
Boise
right after
State,
that.
right? Is it Boise State?
Yeah, at Boise State, but I think he might have gone. I think Washington. I think he actually committed to Washington, which was not one of his commits at Elite 11. He did it afterwards.
Well, they added a late visit to him after Elite 11 while he was on the West Coast.
Yeah, I think he
So-
committed to the Dogs. So we'll see. New Orleans. Brett living in Oregon now. No, he's in California, but I'm in Washington and he's in California, so I'm gonna be driving through.
Texas Dragon. Y'all from
Eugene-
Midland? Y'all from Midland?
Go Boise State Broncos. Mission VAO. See, now we're getting into your neck of the woods. All right, I got to go up and grab a beer before they're done talking about halftime. But I will be right back. And Brett can tell you all the reasons why his second half slip is going to hit.
Oh, Michael Horn for 100. Let's
Whoa! Sorry, I was
go.
about to leave.
Not
Has it
anymore.
become harder
Mike
to
says,
label?
has
Yeah,
it
I
become
know.
harder to label a QB as a bust, especially with so many young quarterbacks recently turning their careers around? Can a QB's chances of redemption be limited by the team they're traded to based on who is already in the QB room or the team's future plans? Excellent
Yes and
question
yes.
for one.
Mm-hmm.
Second, I think the trend we're seeing where like a young quarterback flames out and then goes somewhere else and has success, whether it's Geno Smith, whether it's Sam Darnold, whether it's Baker Mayfield, whether it's even Tua on his own team, they just changed regime. I think that's really shined a spotlight on the fact that supporting structure is everything for a
Especially
quarterback.
for quarterbacks. Yep.
A great quarterback is a force multiplier, but there needs to be a force to multiply. That means good coach, stable offensive line, at least
Yeah.
one weapon you can count on. You don't need an all-star receiving core. You need at least one. A defense that isn't constantly going to put them into disadvantageous game scripts. Like there just needs to be a team there. And I think it doesn't mean that, okay, if your roster isn't complete, you don't take a quarterback. Like, yeah, you still take a quarterback. The Patriots took Drake May for a reason because they didn't think they were going to be bad enough to get him next year. Plus, Drake May is a better prospect than anybody coming out next year and maybe even the year after that. So it doesn't mean you don't take one. But what it does mean is that the success or failure of Drake May is less about Drake May himself and more so about the roster that the Patriots can construct around him over the next year to get him ready for 2025 or maybe even 2026, but most likely 2025. That means increase depth in the offensive line. And now they hit on Layden, a mid-round guard for them who's looking like he's pretty good, but they still need tackle help. And then I still think they need like one more go-to receiver, but they're not that far off. But Drake succeeding or failing kind of depends on those moves being made because it's hard to develop when you're on your back, and it's hard to develop when nobody can get open. Just look at what happened with Caleb. He's one of the best quarterback prospects we've seen in the last 20 years. He's under pressure on literally half of his dropbacks. Like, how do you develop under those circumstances? So it's all about supporting cast. It's all about where you land. And I think it's 100% appropriate to look at Bryce Young as an example of like, okay, it's not going to work in Carolina. Carolina fucking sucks. Like, put him somewhere else where he might have a chance of actually reaching his ceiling. I'm not saying his ceiling is high, but he's not going to reach it there.
Yeah.
So
We've got a sneaky destination for Bryce in the end of the podcast coming out tomorrow. We do talk about Bryce. It is all the way at the end, so you're gonna have to watch the whole thing. No fast forwarding. You're gonna have to watch the whole podcast if you want the sneaky destination for Bryce. But we see this with other players, right? That destination is so important, and for some reason, quarterback has been thought to be different for years, and it's really not. It's just more. Like, it's more important for quarterback than it is for almost any other position in terms of landing spot. But we've seen this for linebackers, for corners, for defensive ends, for offensive linemen, you name it. They've gone to a place, scheme didn't fit, coaching staff didn't believe, whatever it was, they've gone on. Everybody said, oh, they're a bust. They picked them high in the second round. They never played, or they were terrible. They go somewhere else. They have a long and fruitful career, or they rehab their career for a year or two, and then they sign a big free agent deal, go on to make bag. Like, this has happened for other positions for a long time. It just hasn't happened so much for quarterbacks. But now with motion being the way it is, both in the coaching ranks, there's, I think, less patience with head coaching hires and being bad for a very long time. The whole idea of, oh, we're going to have a 7-year plan, that doesn't exist anymore. There isn't even a 5-year plan. You're lucky if you get a 3-year plan. So there's going to be more movement. There's going to be more people sort of pulling a short string, moving on, saying, I don't have patience for this. And some of those players, like Darnold and others, are going to go somewhere else and have a very fruitful second act, third act, fourth act. And we're going to see that quarterback, just like every other position, maybe even more so, is highly dependent on landing spot. And it's not that they suck or they're a bust. It's that they didn't fit very well and they fit better somewhere else. And when they find that spot, then everybody goes, see, I told you they were a good player. They just needed a good spot.
I always look at it this way. Quarterback gives you the ceiling, but you can't put the ceiling on the house until you have walls up, and you can't put the walls up until you have a foundation. So, if you want a really nice house, you start with the foundation, the roof comes after it. And you try to get the best possible roof you can. You can buy the shingles, you can keep them off to the side for a little while, but you're still putting them on last. That's still the finishing touch. So again, the Patriots, they took Drake when they did because, like, of course you take him, like, when you have an opportunity. But the foundation still isn't ready for him yet. So there's nuance to it, is what I'm trying to say.
Woo. All right, Jacoby's picking up right where he left off in the first half. That was an absolute rip. Short of the marker, but that was a heck of a throw. All right, I'm going to go get a beverage. I will be right back. Thank you very much, Michael, for the super chat. That was incredibly generous and great question.
And we got Polk involved. So I'm happy.
Yeah, you're getting everything you want all at once.
All right. Jacoby stepping up here. They're not down by an insurmountable amount. If I recall correctly, it's only an 11-point game right now. Yeah, it's 11 points. So you put together a good drive. All of a sudden, it's a one-possession. Okay. He spoke too soon. 3rd and 4, and they get pressured. This is what I'm talking about. They need tackle help. They need tackle help in a bad way. Oof. And they're also really struggling to pick up these blitzes, too. Like, it almost looks like they don't have hots built in on some of these concepts. Because if, not to go down too much of a technical rabbit hole, but if you have 6 in protection and they bring 7th, that 7th guy is the quarterback's responsibility. You are supposed to have a hot answer for that. And just looking at the one replay that we got there, I didn't see any sort of hot answer there. So I'm kind of wondering structurally, like, what's up with this passing game? Like, that was what got Philly into trouble last year, where, people realized they just didn't really throw hot. So they just blitzed them over and over again and punished them. I might have to go back and watch this tape tomorrow morning. And just look at a cut up of all the blitzes and see if the Patriots actually had answers for it or not. Because if they don't have answers for it, that's a problem. That means, like, they're just not going to stop getting blitzed, right? Jacoby Brissett is dying for our sins. Oh, man. Their offense looks rough for sure, but it's also what the Jets do when their stars take over. For sure. Like, the Jets are talented. The Jets have talent. They definitely have not played up to it in the first 2 weeks, but tonight at least, Rodgers looks great. I don't want to say vintage Rodgers, but he looks great. Will McDonald's made plays. Quinnen's made plays. So, like, they have dudes. It just feels like it's kind of taken 3 weeks for them to play their best game, And the offensive line, I think, for the most part, has looked pretty nice tonight, too. The guys at NFL Stock Exchange made one. What did they make? So I'm trying to get context for that comment. What did Trevin Connor make? Oh, a Bryce Young episode. Oh, you want me to make a Bryce Young episode? Okay. I don't know if I can make a Bryce Young episode that isn't just me hurling expletives at Tepper for 15 minutes. It'd probably get demonetized instantly. Simeon for $10. Thank you, Simeon. So which O-line is worse, Bears or Patriots? Would you play Drake at any time this year, barring injury? Or let Jacoby be the sacrificial punching bag for the year? That's the thing, is like he is such a punching bag for the year. I'm not convinced Jacoby's going to make it through the year at this rate.
Yeah.
So, like, one way or another, Drake might be stepping out on that field, because how can a human body endure this for 18 weeks? Like, that is tough.
Not friendly. And I'm not going to say the Bears O-line is better than anybody right now. Talent-wise, they have the potential to be better than bottom of the league. In terms of execution right now, they're right down there bouncing off the bottom. They are not executing at a consistent level that allows the offense to operate. Brett said it earlier. I think the official number is 47 point something percent pressure rate for Caleb, which means, hey, one of every two dropbacks he's seeing pressure.
I'll look it up right now, actually. I
think it's either 47 or 48. Like, it's basically 1 out of 2, which means half of your offense is getting wrecked before you get started. So not tremendous. They're playing at a very low level, and a lot of it's execution, not ability. Like, they have the ability to play better than that, but they are not playing better than that right now. And that's the difference between paper and dirt. I was going to say he actually got moving.
Okay, so right now,
this very minute, it might go up in a minute or two.
Let me set the position filter because I don't want running backs included in this. Okay, so tackle, guard, center, pressure allowed percentage. The Bears are not the highest.
They're not, but they're close.
Stunned me.
Isn't it terrible?
They're the 8th highest.
Ooh, really?
This is PFF numbers, believe it or not.
PFF. Oh, PFF. Okay, I was looking at the NFL numbers. So
yeah, again, so keep in mind the NFL numbers are determined by chip data, so it's proximity of pass rushers to quarterback.
Right.
It's not necessarily charted. So and even then, like, I disagree on some of the ones that are charted as pressure that I don't think are actually pressured. I disagree on some of the pressures from Next Gen Stats that are counted as. You take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
right?
It depends on who you're looking at. Is the
depends on who you're looking at. So the Bears on PFF have the 8th worst pressure percentage allowed, and I'll count you down to 1.
Oh God!
The Broncos are 7. So Bears are at 30.2%. Broncos are at 31.6%. The Steelers are at 32.8%, and that's mainly just because they've completely fucking ruined Broderick Jones to me. Browns and all their backup tackles are at 36.3%. They're the 5th worst. The 4th worst is the Rams. That one surprised me. I thought the Rams would have been number 1. They're at 40%.
They're beat to hell, so that makes sense. I'm not surprised by the Browns. I thought the Browns would be better, but there's a major component missing from the Browns this year.
Falcons are number 3. They're at 40.3%. The difference is, and we talked about this on the show that releases tomorrow, the Eagles just didn't finish, but they got a ton of pressure.
Yeah, they got
the Patriots are number 2 at 41.8%, and the Tennessee Titans again are 45.5%. That is the worst pressure rate allowed in the NFL. So the Bears are bad, but it could be worse.
Not the worst. Yeah, not the worst. They played a decent, like I said, decent, not tremendous, not great, not even solid half of football. First half versus the Texans, but it fell apart heartily the second half. Like, it was bad.
You know, as the game has gone on, Rodgers has looked a little bit more spry.
Yeah, he's loosening up a little bit.
This kind of, dare I say?
Yeah, dare you say? I was waiting for that.
Dare I say he looks back with a lowercase b? Maybe.
Yeah, okay. I'll take lowercase b right now. 100%. I'm willing to justify a lowercase b.
Oh, here's a good question from chat. Who are the best pressure percentages allowed? Number 1, actually, I'll count you down from 10.
Oh, so these are the best pass protecting teams.
Best pass protecting teams. Number 10 is the Cowboys. Number 9 is the Dolphins. Number 8 This is a shocker.
Chargers?
Giants.
Ooh. Well, I mean,
I'm just saying
it's
shocker compared to what we're used to with the Giants.
yeah, it's yeah. The
They've made
reason the
investments
Giants
on
are
the offensive
failing,
line, but they're
yeah,
working. Like
right. It's not the line. The line is not the reason the Giants are failing. The Giants are certainly failing, but that ain't it.
7 is the Ravens. 6
Okay.
is the Chargers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which, hey, that's a tremendous upgrade for them.
5 is the Packers.
Yep.
4 is the Colts. 3
Interesting.
is the Jets. 2, even more of a shocker. Panthers.
Panthers.
15.1% pressure rate allowed.
Yeah, no, the Panthers have, again, this is lost in the whole Bryce discussion, but the Panthers line has rebounded solidly. And Bryce was playing part of the reason people said, why did they pull Bryce? 2 weeks. It seems really unfair. Because even not experiencing or experiencing one of the lowest pressure rates in the league, he still looked like that.
Yeah, he's throwing for 100 yards a game.
With as much support as he was getting, and they are getting a lot, and I know people aren't used to that because he got none last year, that is a tremendous turnaround. And we talked about this in the offseason preview series, that the likely reason for that is half the coaching staff came with Canales, including the offensive line coach, who is responsible for all those great lines you saw with Tristan Wirfs and Jensen and all the linemen that have played for Tampa Bay and played well together. He's in Carolina now, so we figured he would at least stabilize the line. We were thinking like 12th to 15th would be a great jump because last year they were at like 28th. So even with that level of support, Bryce wasn't getting it done, and that's why they pulled him. It was like, hey, it's not that last year we had nobody that could separate and we couldn't pass protect. We got a couple more guys that can separate, and we're pass protecting at a much higher level, and you look actually worse, like you're regressing. That's why they pulled it.
Second best pressure rate allowed in the NFL at 15% for Carolina. Do you want to hazard a guess who number 1 is?
Best pass protecting line in the NFL. Saints?
By a lot. 10%.
Yeah.
10% pressure rate allowed. That's insane.
That's fantastic considering you're starting a rookie left tackle that didn't play left tackle in college. That's the stunning part of that. Like, not only are you starting a rookie left tackle, he was a right tackle in college.
I'm telling you, Rodgers, man, he's
heating up, man.
This looks like a different Rodgers compared to week 1 and week 2. It really does.
It seems like the rust is knocking off.
100%.
Quite rapidly.
Like, this is I was not super confident in the Jets in the offseason. Like, I had them missing the playoffs, not by a lot. I didn't think they were going to be bad. I just thought they were going to be like mid, right? So I had them like fighting for a 7 seed, but like just not getting it. And then after week 1, I was like, they still look kind of mid. And after week 2, I was like, they still look kind of mid. Like, the only reason they won that game is because Will Levis did Will Levis shit. Tonight is the first time where I look at the Jets and I'm like, okay, this is
be a problem.
Changing potentially how I look at them. We'll see.
Yeah, they could be a problem depending. It's been about the offense. And look, Jets fans, we know we're preaching to the choir. We understand that everybody's known it's been about the offense. The defense has been pretty solid. It's had its ups and downs. It hasn't been great, but it's been pretty solid. And teams that are winning championships have had defenses that are pretty solid, not necessarily great. So it's been about their ability to create offense. Really, all of that hinged on Rodgers, and famously that flamed out after 4 plays. Now that he's back, and again, we feel like he's starting to knock the rust off and look like that Rodgers who is completely deadly from the pocket and can string together 25 or so completions between incompletions. Like, that's a dangerous dude. They have enough weapons. They certainly have more weapons than they did in Green Bay some years when he played very, very well. So, Yep.
Yeah, but it might be dangerous. Might be dangerous.
Yep.
It might not just be the Bills
as long as he stays healthy.
hold.
Yeah. as long as he stays healthy. And that line, as you said, they were in that top 10 for pass protection in the NFL. So the line keeps playing decently and keep Rodgers upright, keep the hits off of him. They have a chance for sure.
I just saw an ad for Popeyes, and
Yes.
now I
desperately need fried chicken.
Need Popeyes. That looks so good. God damn it.
Brett being pulled in by the gravity of Popeyes.
It just looks so good. So well lit. I'm a sucker
It's
for
so
well lit fried chicken commercials.
The entire reason that you bought your initial FX3 was food shots. It had nothing to do with bootleg or film.
Hey man,
folks.
I have to spread the gospel of Factor somehow. It's got to be with cinematic.
It has to be with a camera that one of our colleagues said, "Oh, I made a bunch of camera upgrades," and I felt really bad because I was like, "Oh, cool! Like we got an extra FX3 this summer." He was like, "Oh, well, like they're not that cool." I was like, "Oh, I wasn't trying to shit on your parade. Like your camera upgrades are great."
I'm streaming on the FX3 right now because it
doesn't overheat. I'm bringing the other one home next week.
Doesn't overheat.
That's right. We'll both have FX3s next week. It'll be fun. But
ooh, that was a big hit.
Well, both of these teams are going to be physical on defense. Again, one of the biggest hitters, but certainly not the only one on the Jets defense is out. But neither of these teams is going to go easy on anybody coming through the middle of the field. All right. Deep red zone. What do we got? Screen game. Oh, Wilson with a great move for the first down.
Every time these Patriots corners back off, they're throwing those, and they're just trying to make these guys tackle.
Yep.
They definitely looked at film and they said, we don't think they can tackle.
Look at this move,
not even Gonzo. Like they went after Gonzo. They're like, we don't think he can tackle.
Look at this move from Wilson. Hui! Great play. Nice play by Jones to bring him down too. Saves the touchdown. But Wilson pretty much got that first down on his own. One-on-one with him and just completely deked the corner. Oh!
Are you kidding me?
That's Wilson. Like,
but did you see that ball?
100%. Not only the ball, look at what Wilson did with it after he got it. Like, he only had it for 0.3 seconds after he caught it, but that 0.3 seconds was really important because he weaved it inside the pylon.
How the fuck?
Yeah, now you know what it's like being, well, you kind of knew that anyway.
Oh!
Yeah, he's like, I'm going out of bounds. I got to get this thing inside the pylon.
That's,
yoink.
Oh my God, that's like 2 inches off the fingertips.
Uh-huh.
What in the world?
Well, now you realize the deep and endearing pain of being a Bears fan for the last 13 years or whatever it's been that Rodgers was there for the most part, because he does this stuff all the time. Like, it's not weird or rare or anything else. Like, you see it so often that you just start expecting it. And again, haven't seen that yet in New York. Jets fans have not gotten really any stretch of that. They had a little, they had nothing last year, of course. They had a little burst of it in week 1. They had like 2 tiny bursts of it in week 2. And now we're starting to look at 3 quarters of this game where he's looked what I would say old school, very sharp. Like, very sharp Aaron Rodgers, which is sort of more, I don't know, vintage Aaron Rodgers, where he is just flicking it. It's on target. It's on time.
He's putting it placed.
Yeah, putting it where nobody can catch it except for his guy. Defenders are just frustrated because they're like, look, I've got good coverage. I've got my hand extended. It went by my hand, and that guy caught it, and I couldn't touch it. And again, he has played within that particular very small margin for well over a decade. And it is super frustrating as an opposing fan. I'm sure Patriots fans are like, oh, come on. But they're going to learn if he stays healthy that this is what you get.
Also, Patriots fans, You did do this to teams for like 20 years. I'm gonna allow Jets fans to have this one. Oh, we've been bad for 5 years. Okay, Jets fans have been bad for way longer than that. So
Yeah.
let's give them their night. They got 4 snaps of this last year. Like
Yeah.
let's
Give them
let
a
them
game.
have this.
Yeah. Somebody said that we should check in on clickbait during halftime. That Perna hit 1,200 today on clickbait.
Nice.
I have the pleasure of saying I've actually been on clickbait before, and I've been on GPS twice. So we know Perna really, really well. Grassi as well. Tree was in here earlier. So Adam, we know the dumpster fire and clickbait and GPS guys real, real well.
5 years is a long time. Yeah, so is 20. 20 years is a long time, guys. Like, oh, we dealt with it for so long.
Yep. And I gotta say, it's much more enjoyable when it's happening outside your division.
Yeah, I
It's
feel like
just
I can
fun to watch.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Like I appreciated it when he was there. As painful as it was, you have to be like willfully ignorant or just plain old stubborn not to say, I'm watching a guy play at an all-time level. Like not just a Hall of Fame level, like his MVP seasons, all-time level. You might never see anybody play quarterback better.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point you just throw your hands up and go, as painful as it is and as sort of resigned as I am to the fact that he is going to destroy my team flatly today, like I'm just going to sit back and go, man, look at that guy throw the football. Like I can be sad that he's not on my team. I am, but I can also just sit back as a football fan and go, holy cow, like nobody else can do that.
It's just the shit he can do with a football is
Unreal.
there's very few guys ever that can do that.
Nope. I would agree.
And when I say very few,
great.
I mean like 5?
Yeah.
Ever?
Yeah. No, he's and the fact that he wasn't one of those flash in the pan guys that had like one shining season and everybody said, oh, he'd be great, and then he got injured or something. Like he's done it at such a high level for such a long time that, like you said, it becomes a sort of stack of evidence that very few people can stand up to in the history of the league. And that's a transcendent player. Like Aaron Rodgers is as good at throwing the football as anybody has been in this league ever. Like, and I'm very confident saying that.
Man, we have Austin Hooper screens for first downs in the year of our Lord 2024. How about that?
That's a setup. Oh man. Oh jeez.
Who do I have to shake hands with to get the Giants a QB like this? Sam Darnold's going to be on the market about 6 months, guys. Okay.
The devil, I guess, because I thoroughly feel like Brady and Rodgers and a few others like definitely made a deal that said like all I want to do is dominate the league completely for like 15 years. I'll do whatever you want after that.
Well, DeMario at least might hit the overs. So I'll take that.
We love our Pop. Good old Pop Douglas. Really, really good player. Fun guy to talk to too.
So Garrett Wilson, I need to get, what is that, 11 more yards. I need Polk to get 6 more yards.
Both of those things might happen.
I need Jacoby to get a touchdown.
Oh, right here.
Get it.
Oh.
I need Jacoby to get a touchdown. Rodgers already hit his. And then I need Alvin to just like exist against the Eagles, and I'm all right.
Do I feel like they're throwing balls to Taekwon only to draw flags tonight?
He's the new Torrey Smith.
That's right.
The Joe Flacco special.
We'll chuck it up and see if he gets annihilated. Okay. Yeah. I am surprised that they haven't leaned more heavily on Ramondre in this game. I mean, they are down 21-3. I get it, but like Ramondre feels.
I don't think they think. Oh, he's hot too. He thinks Douglas, he missed him.
Yeah, Douglas draws a flag in the middle of the field.
He thinks he went over the top of him and didn't hit him.
I understand that. And they might pull the flag on this one. They've done that quite a bit in the first 2 weeks, and I applaud NFL officials for, making the right call and saying, "Hey, we looked at it. It's not a foul." They've done that more than I can remember ever. Um, Not this time, apparently. Oh,
Oh,
it's
it's a
holding.
hold.
Oops.
A hold and a PI.
Oh,
They're,
was
they're
it? Yeah, I was
canceling
gonna
out.
say.
Okay.
Yeah, offsetting. Oh, did you? I suppose you did because you're a Texans fan. Heard that Brevin Jordan did his ACL.
Yeah, it sucks. I
Yeah,
like Brevin.
yeah, I do too. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I don't know that that was a hold as much as it was just a mauling.
I think that was just dying.
Yeah,
Who was that ran over him? Was that Q or was
it
that Leonard?
it felt like a key rush for me. Oh,
No,
another one.
another hold.
Oh, and it's Hooper again, right?
Yeah,
Oh
that's coming
gosh.
back though, which is fine. Anything to give me more polk yards.
Anything to give me another bite at the poke
Hey
apple. Oh
man,
boy.
I'm leaving here with something.
I, you know, you, I said in the opener that I thought they should throw to DeMario more often, and you said I've got him on the slip, but they just haven't done it yet this year. He's had a really low number of actual targets. Caden Wallace.
Yeah, Caden got.
I think
If you hook around,
I get it, but I'm sort of with Caden on this one. Like, so I just kicked that guy's ass. Like, I didn't really foul him. Like, he didn't keep his balance for well, and I threw him down. Yeah, that's true, Your Honor. I did put that man on the ground.
he fell into my knife 8 times.
Wow. Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, that is a deserved sack. So, Jets getting home.
I'm telling you, I don't think Jacoby can last 17
He's
games of this, man.
taking a beating. He's he knows it, but like, whoa. Okay, so the rusher that got him was not even the biggest threat on that play. The biggest threat was the guy that popped by the center in like zero point 0.5 seconds. Yeah, penalties declined because we got the sack. All right, here's Big Q on the center. Watch this. Oh, it wasn't even him.
No, it was Tack
50,
again that
yeah,
flushed him, and then
54.
Q came around.
Yeah.
But he's just, oh my god,
Yeah, it's a lot of hits and
it's a
it's early in
lot
the
of
season.
hits.
So very
It's
tough for a quarterback to stand up through that.
time to draft that LSU tackle. Yes, At
Yeah, either.
whatever tackle. Like honestly, I don't even care. Like whatever tackle, and then
Well, you
take
can
another
take
one,
either. You can take either of the LSU tackles. Like they're both good.
and also sign one in free agency. Like just
Sure,
all
sure.
the tackles.
All things. I want all the tackle things. All right, 4th and 26. Open up the playbook. Got a lot of stuff for that. Oh yeah, punt.
Like I don't know,
Man, think about
kidnap
that.
Harbaugh's family and see if he'll give you Joe Alt. Like just
Yeah.
do something.
Think about where they're kicking that from.
And
They
think
kicked
about where
that
they
from like,
were.
yeah, no, they're kicking it from inside the 50 and it's 4th and 26, which means you were a whole lot closer a few plays ago. Oh man.
Could I interest the Pats in a slightly used Caleb McGarry? It can't be
I was gonna say
worse.
you probably could, as a matter of fact.
Now,
Like,
what they need left tackle more than right tackle,
yeah.
in my opinion, and that's not McGarry. So, just they need something. They need something. Like honestly, they need whatever Packers offensive line coach is constantly plucking starters out of the 5th and 7th round. How about that? Like, can they send a pick to the Packers, like a second rounder to the Packers for Rashid?
Oh man. Don't remind me.
What do you think Zach Tom will go
Packers
for? I think Zach Tom could get it first.
right now? Yeah.
I think you get a first rounder. Now, the
Yeah,
Packers aren't going to do it because they're not stupid, but
no, I was gonna say, but like a potential low first. Yeah, absolutely, not even a question. Because again, there's an offensive line shortage, and if you are getting a known quantity, you're taking risk out of it, and you're going to pay for that, and that's fine. But that's what that would cost. And again, someone who is very adept at pass protection. League is still a passing league. Yes, we are going to see more of a transition towards power runs. Zach Tom's not a terrible run blocker, but he is a excellent top tier pass blocker. And if you're getting one of those with no risk, essentially, yeah, you're gonna pay for it.
I almost kind of think maybe the Patriots should have picked up Huntley to be the backup just to make sure that Drake May never had to go behind this line this year, because I think Jacoby's gonna get hurt. And like they need I cannot put Drake behind this line. I can't do it.
Now, to be clear, we don't want Jacoby to get hurt.
I'm not saying I do not want him to get hurt.
I'm just saying, like we've been saying, man, he's gonna get slaughtered. He's gonna get slaughtered. We don't want that to happen, but it kind of looks like the eventual outcome, given the protection or lack thereof that he's receiving. And, you know, as much as you say you can't put Drake behind this line, like they put Caleb behind that line in Chicago.
Dude, every single drop back ends with him looking like he's James Bond stepping out of a helicopter crash. It's like, I can't believe he's going through this again.
Yeah. It is not great. And again, he is not a spring chicken. It is great to have a veteran quarterback, but they also come with mileage. Now, Jacoby has a little bit less mileage because he didn't play as a starter all the way through his career. However, he's one of the more experienced sort of journeyman quarterbacks in terms of downs played. He's not fresh. And, you know, I don't think anybody wants to stand up and take a beating, and he is absolutely doing that right now.
I want to see this film tomorrow because I want to see like what's the biggest problem. it's just a snuff film.
What's the biggest crack in the dam that we need to patch?
The whole damn thing.
And yeah, and the whole damn thing. Oh, I thought he was gonna break that.
Speaking of, Braylon Allen's body count tonight. It's pretty high. That's like the fourth dude he's run over.
Similar to his runs at Wisconsin. If you're familiar with his previous work, this is not a shocker. Again, you know, I hope that he is truly one of those guys made out of iron, because if not, he's going to get broke off too. Like he can't. Most guys typically can't do that in the NFL for very long, because just sort of inviting that much contact. You know, I know he did it at Wisconsin. It's different in the NFL. All right, good movement from Rodgers here. And again, on the money. He's like,
so dialed in.
Is there anybody happier in the world right now than Conklin? Conklin is like, where's this been?
Unreal.
Yeah, I mean, Conklin is like, I have a second life. This is ridiculous.
Brett here doing CSI on the Patriots line.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Like Oof. That's closer than you think.
Rodgers got. Oh, did they call that? They call a late hit on Rodgers?
I don't know. Tyler like Conklin, 3 for 62 at 20.7 per catch, and I don't think that includes the most recent one he caught. Oh, he is the leading receiver on the Jets by a fair amount.
Rodgers being twice as old as the guy he's handing off to is a stat I just don't get tired of.
He might get tired handing it off, but
Braylon, I think, was born when Rodgers was a senior at Cal, right?
Something like that, yeah. Oh, Uche. Oh, yeah, okay. You can't carry momentum through, buddy. You're going to get it every time, Josh. I know you're frustrated,
he's frustrated.
Yeah. 5.4 per carry for Braylon Allen tonight. So good sign if you are a Jets fan.
Pre-game over under was 215, already at 241. Might even crack 300, which is no small feat against this defense.
Not at all.
Oh my God, the Patriots have 81 yards?
Yeah, they only had 15 plays in the three quarters of the first half. Oh, look at Rodgers
God.
to Conklin again. He's just throwing darts at this point. He's just like right there, right there. He's literally looks like he's throwing darts. He's just like right there, bullseye, bullseye.
81
Conklin
yards.
can't believe it. Conklin's just like, dude, pinch me. Like somebody pinch me. Like, am I gonna wake up tomorrow and this is gonna be real? Like, I'm gonna have 115 yards and a touchdown when this is over. He has no idea what's happening to him right now. He's just like, this is awesome.
Jacob says I have Conklin as my TE1 on all teams.
Well, tonight he's playing like a TE1, that's for sure.
Hey, Brett, what centers are coming out next year asking for a friend in New England?
No, asking for a friend in Chicago. My Chicago gets a center crusade starts 3 years ago.
I don't know about centers, but there is a guard at Georgia who's apparently pretty good.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't really dove that much into this coming draft class.
Yeah.
I like to let the optimism of the season carry me to about Halloween before I start on that.
That's awesome. Oh, back shoulder. He missed it.
Oh, he just had to throttle down a little bit. He'll get it. That's more of a chemistry thing.
Those two will get it. And they've missed that particular throw. They missed it in the preseason a fair amount, and they've missed it at least once a week since the season started. And it's just one of those things they don't quite have the rhythm yet. Like, they will. They're both really good players, but right now they can't count on that. And, man, that is the throw that Rodgers and Devontae Adams made a living on for like 5 years. Like, it was automatic. Look at Rodgers.
God, look at Simpson. You see Simpson clean up.
Oh, yeah. Full slab. Oh, double full slab.
Go in, get you some more. Get you some more, big fella.
Get the other half of that rack of ribs. Yikes. Oh, man.
Yeah, they're just teeing off at this point. Yeah. This is blood in the water type shit.
Well, you've got him down. 1 quarter to go, 21-3. Oh, there goes Roger.
Uche finally got there.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Jinx, you owe me half a beer. But
one of the Jets linemen's hurt. Oh shit.
Oh, it's Morgan Moses.
Oh, they cannot afford that.
And he is looking in pain. That does not look like a small. That is not a twisted ankle, folks.
Nope, that looks worse than that.
Oh, boy. What do we say? We said the offensive line has to stay healthy to keep him upright, and Rodgers has to stay healthy and not, like, attract a bunch of hits.
Did he get rolled?
Oh, yep, he sure did. Yikes. Ouch. Ouch.
I can't tell if it's
lower leg. He broke his lower leg, I think.
Either that or it's a real bad high ankle.
Which is pretty much the same thing. That's owie.
That's real bad either way.
Yeah, he's in pain for a reason. Ugh. Yikes. And again, not a young
about
player.
How this offensive line was playing too.
Yep. And saying they had to stay healthy and protect Rodgers and keep him upright. And Moses is obviously a huge part of that. That is not an injury, regardless of what it ends up being, that he's going to come back from quickly. That one is tough. That was a lot of speed.
I have to assume this means Olu is coming in.
It better be.
Which, I mean, that's why they drafted Olu, right? Was like just in case something happened.
I was going to say, it better be. And, I hope that Olu plays really well. So we're talking about Olu Fashanu, left tackle, Penn State, was before last year's college season, the presumptive number 1 overall pick, even possibly. He was playing at that level through his final season. I don't think he played a whole lot worse. I think just all the increased draft scrutiny that comes with the year you're coming out. A bunch of people, including Joel, sort of, uh, you know, jumped over him. Again, he didn't change very much as a player. He's not one of those guys that had a terrible final year in college. He was steady, if anything. And I think people got a little bit bored of him being extremely good at being what he was good at, which is pass protection. He was never a great run blocker, never a terrible run blocker, but didn't have that sort of complete two-way versatility. But he is a high level pass blocker and has been for a couple of years. So, if the Jets are going to lean on somebody in the absence of Morgan Moses, yeah, their run game might suffer a little bit, but the thing that we're saying we think is most important, pass protection for Rodgers, shouldn't suffer tremendously because Fashanu is literally one of the best pass protectors that came out in last year's draft. So,
Yeah, this was.
oh, he's walking on it.
He's walking. All right, so it's probably not a broken leg then.
That's better. That is better than what I thought.
If I had to guess, that probably a high ankle.
Yeah, and he's walking without support. Like he doesn't have trainers under his arms. So that's much better than the way it looked. And just goes without saying because he plays offensive line in the NFL and he has for a very long time. Morgan Moses is a tough son of a gun.
And strong as hell. He's great.
Yeah, he is an ox. He is a beast physically. You gotta be strong to survive something like that because that looked awful. I did not expect to see him walking off the field with no assistance. So still going to miss some time for sure. There's no way he just bounces. Well, I'm not going to say no way. There's very little chance he just bounces back from that with no ill effects. But again, Jets, one of the better prepared teams in the league for having something like that happen. Again, to have a very highly drafted, good pass protecting tackle is a luxury that most teams do not have in this league.
I think I missed a couple super chats. If we happen to miss some, again, don't get the policy. Don't give us more money, but do throw them back into chat if we missed any of your super chats.
I will scroll up here and see what I can find on YouTube. See if we missed any.
Friend of the program, Sam Schwartzstein on screen right now, by the way. I'm watching the Prime Vision.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know if you're watching the normal one or not, but
I'm watching the normal one, but strangely enough, we're fairly synced up tonight, which is fantastic.
So maybe really. That's the key. I go on Prime, you go on.
That worked at the end of last season, but we just chased it all last year. We had trouble getting that dialed in.
Yeah, now that you mention it, we have been eerily synced today.
No, like really close. Like we've had like a second between reactions, which I love. That is a much more balanced way to do this. All the super chats I have expired. I do not see any current ones that we did not get. That does not mean we didn't miss any. We usually do. Again, put your question back in the chat with no extra compensation, and we will try and get it answered.
The games are also on Twitch, which should be pretty synced. Theoretically, should be. However, the thing you need to understand, EJ lives in the forest in the middle of freaking nowhere. So things never get to him on time ever. Wow, I can't talk today.
It's true. I do not have great internet. I have lots of cool stuff at my house. I do not have great internet. Good enough to do this. That's about it. We're right at the level. I tell my kids before I start the stream, if I text you and say get off the internet, I have lots of people in this lobby. Let me watch the game. Haven't had to do that this year. Been pretty solid. But
what do you think the odds are that with that new development down the street, maybe they'll just toss a little good Google Fiber your way, maybe?
Not good. I've been waiting for Verizon 5G. Everybody says, oh, get 5G, get 5G. It's through the air. You don't need wires. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be awesome. I would love that. No. And again, everybody wants to sell you things, which is great. So they're like, absolutely, we'll get that right out to you. And I'm like, I live here. And they're like, I guarantee we cover that. And I'm like, I bet $100 you don't. And they're like, no, of course. Yeah. And then like I get the call 3 days later from the sort of, disgruntled supervisor. So we said we could do it. We can't do it.
Yeah. We did not realize you live in fucking Narnia over there.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, lots of fun. We have lots of fun with cable.
Kevin says, my super chat, what is the ceiling with Andy Dalton now, especially if the pressure rate from Carolina's O-line is good? Competence is what I would expect. I would expect competence from Andy Dalton. I would expect the offense to stay on time. I would not expect a bunch of explosiveness. I don't think that, Deontay is going to all of a sudden be the most productive X receiver in the league. But you'll see a team that
We'll get a few passes.
you'll get completions. How about
Yes.
that? You'll get completions. You'll get probably a stable enough passing game to maybe potentially open up the run a little bit. It's more throwing to run for them than running to throw. I just think you'll see competence, and you'll see an offense that stays on time and at least sort of kind of stays ahead of the sticks.
Oh man, he's walking almost normally now. That's crazy.
The adrenaline's a hell of a drug.
I 100% agree, and having experienced that multiple times, yep, sure is. I just love the phrasing of that question. Talking about ceiling and Andy Dalton, and I'm like, wow. Speaking of our year of the Lord 2024, are we talking about Andy Dalton ceiling?
Matthew Wright said, my super chat was, are the Bears' offensive woes made more frustrating when 3 of Kyle Shanahan's assistants have gone on to be great OCs? Yes, it is made more frustrating, especially when they literally interviewed Clint Kubiak. They had him in the building. They interviewed him. And then they went with Shane Waldron. Not that
Which is also a historical Bears fact of, hey, we had a better coaching candidate in during this process, this very same one, and said no.
Keep in mind, I'm not anti Shane Waldron. I think he's fine. But I think anytime you have an opportunity to get not just a branch of the Shanahan tree, but a direct descendant of Gary Kubiak who taught Kyle everything he knows, because Kyle's offense is way more resembling Gary Kubiak's than it does his own dad's. So if you can get one of the Kubiaks,
turnover.
I would rather have that than Shane Waldron. Again, it's not anti-Shane Waldron. It's just recognizing the fact that Clint Kubiak has been literally developed since birth to be an OC. So he's probably pretty darn good at it, and he is.
You're talking about him like he's a genetically engineered superweapon.
There's another one, too. They grew another one in the lab.
Clay
Kubiak, over in San Francisco.
Which both Kubiaks were highlighted during the bootleg offseason preview series. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you didn't watch that, again, it is the basis off which we really roll everything from the season, go through every team, every transaction, free agency, draft, coaching additions, the deepest dive we can pull off. And it really does set us up for that. And I saw somebody today react on Twitter, and they're like, there's another one with a picture of Clay. And I was like, yep, we called him out too. Sure enough. So Jets get the ball back on a Patriots fumble, and that is not something you can afford if you're a New England fan. Only a quarter left here. You're down by basically 3 full scores.
Which is, for this team, is insurmountable. I'm sorry.
They're not built to be quick strike, and you would need a large defensive breakdown from the Jets or something fully unexpected. Keystone Cops, block punt gets kicked into the end zone or something, but
Hendog said, Miss Super Chat is, if Adams is done with the Raiders, would a Reddick for Adams swap work for both teams? I don't necessarily think pass rush is the issue for the Raiders, honestly.
No, pass rush is actually functional, but
it would it'd be fun. Okay, yeah, let's put Hassan Reddick with Wilkins and Max and
sure.
They had 4 guys, right? They drafted Tyree, which they're hoping to get something out of him eventually. We'll see.
Yep.
So I don't necessarily think, if the Raiders are trading for anything, what would they trade for?
Besides quarterback? Not tight end. Not tight end. They are set at tight end. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
Rodgers just gets his back shoulder, but it's to Williams. Yeah, not to Wilson. Williams is like, I know how to run that.
What would the Raiders trade for?
Dude, look at that look in Rodgers' eyes right there. Mike Williams just earned himself like multiple targets for the rest of the year. Rodgers looked like he fully expected that to happen. By the way, young quarterbacks out there, quarterback coaches, mechanics guys, don't watch Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he's
You're
not
not going to be able to teach your pupils to do this, like your students, your proteges. Like, don't try and make them be like him, because nobody can be. Like, nobody can throw the ball like that out of the
oh my
mechanics that he's
god.
generating.
See, old Rogers would have gotten the corner on that, but hey, we'll
Yeah.
settle for a 5 yard gain on that. That's fine.
Look at him. He's having fun again. I appreciate that. He's, Achilles rehab, no fun. Like, not fun at all. There are a lot of long days spent by yourself doing Achilles rehab, and he's out there having fun on the football field again. And that's a good thing to see as a football fan. If you're a Patriots fan, I apologize because, well, no, I don't. You, again, terrorized the league with Brady for a very long time, but I get it. I know what it's like to have Rodgers across the line from your team and look at him and go, what are we supposed to do? And the answer is, you're not doing jack shit. Like, Rodgers is going to beat you when he's playing like this. That's all there is to it.
If the Raiders are going to trade for, I'm sorry, I'm still on that question. If the Raiders are going to trade for
I know.
anything, it would be offensive line. But here's the thing: nobody's going to trade their offensive linemen away. So
Yeah. Not the ones they need.
not the ones they need. Oh, they called it a knee for Moses. Interesting. That's not what I thought it was.
Well, yeah, just like what part of what part of the leg it went up to, because again, he got rolled over in the lower mid leg, but it's going to put tension on the top and the bottom. And apparently the first thing that gave was the knee, not the ankle. So,
David for $5. Why does Broderick Jones' job change every 5 minutes? And how has Dan Moore somehow become viable? I think Dan Moore's become viable because they're not changing his job every 5 minutes, and they're making Broderick do that. And so they're constantly making him switch sides because, like, oh, well, he's more talented. And it's like, yeah, but you're fucking him up. Meanwhile, Dan Moore just plays one spot, and they leave him there. So, man, the Fahatano injury, it's just that really hurt them because it's just a constant snip snap with Broderick Jones, and it's just made it so hard on his development.
oh, there it is. Oh, he had it.
Almost had it. Oh, man.
That is a tremendous play by Jones. But what did I tell you? He goes right back to Williams. So Rodgers is a big trust guy with his wide receivers. This is famous when he has young receivers, especially as he did in Green Bay. Guys that don't perform like he thinks they should, that is, don't bring in passes he thinks are on the money, or don't control the ball at the ground, or whatever else. I don't really look at it. He's super disappointed that Williams didn't catch that ball, but he went right back to Williams because he's like, I threw Mike Williams my patented back shoulder fade, and he pulled it in. I'm going to keep going to that guy. The very next time he goes to him, which is just a few plays later, he has it right until the ground. He doesn't get it. Great job by Jones playing all the way through the ground, like through the catch point, through the ground. Do not finish until that whistle blows and prevents a touchdown, because Williams had that thing.
King Emmanuel says, my super chat was, would you start Carr or Hurts this week? Carr. Well,
Yeah, Carr.
I don't know. With the rushing, Jalen ran a lot.
Yeah, Jalen started to run again, which makes it a more even question. But man, Carr's on such a heater. Like, he looks.
How about
again,
this? I'll favor Hurts just because I think he might get a rushing touchdown, and those are so valuable.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's close. Like, and it's more so just because Carr has played well, not because Jalen's played like terrible.
Yeah, Carr's played extremely well. Carr's effectiveness with play action was at the top of the league at the end of last year. And guess which offense used the least amount of play action in the entire league?
Let me take a wild guess.
Let you take a wild guess. It was the Saints. So it was the thing he did the best, and they did it the least. This year, the aforementioned Clint Kubiak's been like, hey, you're really good with play action. we should have a fairly high rate of play action. They're not the highest, but they are up there. And sure enough, shocker, Derek Carr looks like election year Derek Carr. He is amazing.
Every 4 years.
Yeah. No, he is crushing it.
Eric says, my super chat from earlier, Colt Steve versus Bears offense is like throwing cotton balls and tissue paper and seeing what gives.
Very good.
Fucking funny.
Well played. Well played. That's all I got for that. Well played.
That's great.
True that.
Dane says, Brett, you're actually bad at Space Marine 2, parentheses, the game's actually pretty difficult. Any other games you played recently? Not really, no. Mainly because I did the summer series for 2 months, and then immediately after the summer series, I had to start packing and getting ready to move. And then I did like a month-long move process, and then the season started. So I haven't got really to play anything in forever.
Yeah, you played... You're playing Helldivers in the spring.
Oh, that's I did play a little Helldivers.
Not really in summer. Yeah.
Well, Helldivers came out over summer, and I think I played it a little bit like while you were down for recording bootleg.
Yeah, like the draft.
That was it was a couple. No, I think it was after the draft. But
no, draft. I think you're playing Helldivers around the draft. Anyways, Helldivers a little bit. Space Marine, Space Marine 2.
I have a type, as you can tell. I have a type.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just killing bugs. Do you guys think the Falcons are more than a feisty mid team after staying competitive with the Eagles? If anything, that game was more of an indictment on the Eagles than I think it was on the Falcons.
Yeah, but the Falcons they might be. I'll give it that, because the offensive line, which we liked already, played at an extremely high level for large portions of the game against Philly. Again, if you have an offensive line operating at a high level and Kirk starts to knock the rust off, again, stop us if you've heard this one, aging quarterback coming back from Achilles stuff, like, okay, he can distribute the ball as well as anybody. In fact, we compared Rodgers to a slightly hotter version of Microwave Kirk. And if that's the case, Atlanta's got a lot of weapons. And if your offensive line's playing well and your quarterback's dealing and you've got some weapons, in this league, you've got a very good shot. Like, they have a great running back. They've got London, got Pitts. Started to see Mooney come on a little bit. That's great for them. So they have the potential to be a little bit more than mid-feisty. The defense has stars on stars. I mean, they grab Judon, they've got Bates. Like, they've got players at all levels. They just put a big contract into re-upping one of the best corners in the league. Like, there's guys there. There's plenty of dudes to make plays. And honest to God, if that line plays well and Cousins stays upright and he's dealing, it's not a team I would want to play, early in the playoffs, late in the season if they get hot. Like, there's just a lot of guys you got to try and stop there.
All right, Patriots are getting a little something going here. Oh, Jacoby.
Had something going.
Please get rid of the ball before that man ends your life.
It's like, I got to throw it at somebody's feet. Somebody, show me your feet. I want to throw it at your cleats.
Icelandic Fart Police says, your complaints about the Bears not hiring Clint is what I felt when the Broncos failed to hire Kyle or even interview Mike McDaniel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially in the McDaniel one's especially bad because of his history.
He's a ball boy.
He's a ball boy with the franchise.
He's a ball boy.
Kyle was the son of a Broncos legend. I mean, both, like, they one of those two should have been Broncos. I know. Again, it's another one.
Speaking of, like, wildebeests and gazelles dealing with lions, like, good God. He's just standing back there looking at 2 and 3 rushers coming at him. Like, as a quarterback, folks, you're not doing anything in this situation. There is nothing to do. He's like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, wait, 4 guys on top of me at the end of the play. Not awesome. I dodged the first one, and then there were 3 more. Like,
again, obviously I haven't watched the film yet because the game is still going on, and I don't have any data to necessarily back up the hunch. But my hunch,
Oh,
just based on watching this game live, is it's less about guys losing one on one, and it's more so about they just can't handle blitzes. Like their
yeah,
blitz pickup has been awful tonight.
yeah. Well, a little bit of that we saw Bears Texans. Like there were, I don't want to. There were basic stunts, like basic junior high,
Yeah, it
JV
was
sort of
TT
stunts.
stunts. It was
You know,
3-man
pretty
games. It was
yeah, pretty much like first, second week install stuff that they weren't handling correctly. They were passing it off. They were picking it up. It's not that there were some crazy individual Miles Garrett type effort. It's just they didn't play to their protection. Like they didn't play the roles in their protection correctly. It wasn't a physical ability type thing. And when you went back and looked at the tape, you're like, well, until they can pick up a basic stunt, morale will not improve. Like it's not going to happen because everybody in this league can run basic stunts, and a lot of people in this league can run exotic stunts. And if you can't pick up the little ones, you're not going to pick up the big ones. So it's not that guys can't do it. It's that again, you're not doing it. You're not executing it to that level.
it's just hard to watch. It's really hard
It
to watch.
it is hard to watch, and we're not even related to Jacoby Brissett.
The Jets have
I
had over 10 minutes time of possession each quarter.
think
Ugh.
as a Patriots staff, it is not going to be a fun film to watch.
Let me see what the current TOP is. This is going to be a horror show.
Yeah,
Okay, so it is 8 minutes
it's
17
almost Halloween.
8 minutes 17 seconds left in the fourth quarter. The Patriots have 15 minutes and 32 seconds of possession. Good God.
Uh-huh.
Like that's
Yep. So NCLH SEA, welcome back, says, so does this game mean the Seahawks are bad? No, it does not mean the Seahawks are bad. The matchup between the Hawks and the Patriots obviously was a lot closer. But Gino, he's
well,
approached Rodgers like levels,
I also
but
want to
he
say
ain't Rodgers.
road teams in TNF always look terrible.
Yeah.
So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, it does not mean the Hawks are bad. I suspect very strongly as the season goes on, if there is any of that narrative, it will be reduced pretty quickly. Like I think the Hawks are a very solid football team and getting better, not the other way around. So
I love how at the start of halftime I just needed Jalen Polk to get like 9 yards. I'm still waiting.
you basically needed the Patriots to just acknowledge that Jalen Polk exists, and they won't do it.
Just breathe in his direction. No.
Shanahan made a call at halftime to New England. It's like, Brett wants Polk. Don't touch him. Like, do not touch him.
Oh man. JJ for $10. Thank you, JJ. Call me crazy, but as a Steelers fan, I hated the Jones pick. Teams need to stop drafting Georgia outside line players. Or outside line players, edges and tackles haven't been great. They're built inside first. I'm trying to think. Isaiah Wynn, other than like when he was injured, like Isaiah Wynn, I thought was a very capable lineman. Again, injury kind of ruined his career. Let's see, Georgia edge players.
Jets fans, well, like Nolan Smith, like not great.
It was Jarvis. Who was the other Georgia edge the Steelers took like 12 years ago? Jarvis.
Oh,
Jones?
yeah.
Jarvis something.
Yeah, but you missed the other one. Shoot, you started talking about Jarvis and you knocked him out of my head. Who's the one that did he go to Phoenix? No. Anyways, I'll look
Georgia
it up in a
edge?
second.
I'm trying to think. So, actually, now I need to look this up.
Well, Hackett just went back to the well again. Not this play, but 2 plays ago with that little reverse motion sort of it almost looks like counter off tackle where they use motion and then they use reverse motion to be the lead blocker. But he just used that play in like third quarter and didn't work so well. And this is, if you're a Jets fan, hey, celebrate. It's a good night to celebrate. You're beating a division rival 24-3. Things are looking good. Your quarterback looks like he's playing pretty well. These are all happy things. If you want to be unhappy about something, look at Hackett's tendency to go to the well one too many times. It's not my favorite thing about him as a play caller.
Justin Houston worked out.
Well, go back a little, will you?
Wow,
on.
Sanders Cummings, blast from the past. Holy shit.
Yo.
D'Angelo Tyson, he's a 7th rounder. Doesn't care. Let's see.
What's it not? Come on. Why is my brain blank on this? It was 3 years ago, really fast. Georgia edge, undersized. Which describes a lot of Georgia edges.
I was going to say, it's like you'll have to be more specific.
That's their type. 3 Georgia edges ago. Who was it?
So there was Nolan, there was Channing Tindall, which, I mean,
No,
they did use him as a
Tindall's
pass
linebacker.
rusher.
Yeah, no. Before that.
Aziz?
2 years before that. Yep. Ojulari.
Yeah, he also wasn't super big either.
Yep,
Oh, and then there was Lorenzo Carter before that.
Yeah, I didn't love Carter. Ojulari just seems so much like a D Ford type to me.
Damn, is Leonard Floyd the last one to really work out in 2016? Like 9 years ago?
Yeah, and Floyd again is not a huge sack threat, but he's more of a Van Noy type that is deployable in lots of roles and quite good at all of them. Yeah.
Damn, I think he might be the actual last one to really, really work out.
Well, it's funny because some college programs have a type in it. People say, "Oh, don't scout the helmet." I'm not scouting the helmet. I'm scouting the type that Georgia likes as outside edges because, again, Ojulari, Nolan Smith, like Carter to a point, like they're the same dude. Like they're slightly undersized. They rely on speed. Yeah, they're undersized. Rely on speed. They don't have tremendous hand usage.
They're saying Drake's coming in.
I wouldn't do that. Well,
is it Drake's coming in because Jacoby's hurt, or Drake's coming in because they just want to see what happens?
I think they want to give him some snaps, and this is a low pressure environment. Like he can't lose, right? Because they're already down 24-3. Nobody expects him to win the game. If he comes in and leads them to like 10 points, New England's going to go bananas. Which
if he completes a pass, they're going to go bananas.
Well, you know what I'm saying is that the way that they've handled his development in terms of the snap percentage, this makes a little bit of sense. They're giving him like 30% of the reps in practice, which I know a lot of people are going to listen to and say, "Oh, that's not very many." Like the backup quarterback usually gets like 10% or less, but because he's a rookie and they want him to have more chances, they are giving him a significant percentage of snaps throughout practice and have been since training camp. And that's their roadmap for developing Drake, is to get the ball in his hands. And at this point, they're kind of like, the pass rush is terrible, but these are live action snaps, and kind of nobody's going to care if you lose because we're already losing really bad. Like there's no pressure on you. It's not like, oh, we started Drake and he threw up an egg. Like you're already down 24-3. Nobody's going to blame you if you get the L on this one. But if you get in, see some blitzes, adjust a couple protections, complete some passes, like you said, or score, 7 to 10 points, everybody's going to be like, we got him. He's good.
They need, for the love of God,
they need to
some blitz answers.
Well, that, and you got to have some help. You got to chip, and you got to do all the things to make a rookie quarterback more comfortable. You can't just bring him in with kind of the same Jacoby set of rules and not make any adjustments. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Evening, says Craig for 4.99. Thanks, Craig. Return of Rodgers is terrifying, but what do you think of JMO taking a step forward and Laporta becoming more of a 2A and JMO a 2B? I am all for JMO taking a step forward. 2 years in the making, but happy to see it. Laporta's situation so far through 2 weeks is one of the more sort of under talked about storylines. Like he was all over and everything to their offense last year. And through 2 weeks, it's been like, shh, Laporta, sleeping. We don't want to wake him up.
It just means that he's due, to use the most shallow platitude ever.
He is extremely due if that's the case. All right. So we get to see the pro debut of Drake Bay. I'm kind of excited about this. I don't know. Like,
I just
4 minutes left.
Hurt. Just please don't get hurt. That's all.
Oh, okay.
And don't throw a pick.
Well, again, I think if he throws a pick, a lot of people are just going to chalk it up to be like, well, whatever. They didn't have any protection. They were getting killed. This ball looked a little lackadaisical to me. Like he can throw that ball.
I think it's literally
harder.
Just find the numbers. They're trying to get him a completion, and the Jets
I think
know that.
He might have over-indexed on, tone down the adrenaline. He just threw that one a little bit softer than I think he needs to. He can drill that in a little bit. These are pro receivers; they can catch that. Oh, Leonard's playing for the Jets.
Leonard Taylor?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had himself a really good preseason.
Ooh, nice catch. I don't love it, but nice catch of a high snap.
Okay, well, they got off the field and he didn't get hurt. I'll take it.
Drake's not pleased with that. Oh, they keeping him out there?
Are they going for it?
I think they are. He walked back to the huddle with a purpose.
Still just a brutal hit. Look, please don't do this.
They're gonna thrash him. Oh, all right. That
was a great move by Gibson.
That's a lot of grit. Like he got turned around. He was 4 yards behind line of scrimmage. It was not looking good.
I'm so nervous watching this.
I know. Drake gets to open it up a little bit. Oh, nope. Screen. When I said make a rookie quarterback comfortable, I didn't exactly mean that. I didn't not mean that, but I definitely didn't mean that exactly.
Does Gibson have more touches than
Ramondre?
Yeah, Gibson now has more touches than Ramondre, I think.
Yeah, because of the passing game, which is really odd because, again, coming into this game, I thought Ramondre's matchup with the Jets defense was good depending on the type of run. Oh, delayed draw. Wow.
Well, what's interesting is now the carry split is 6-5, but Gibson's got all of his carries in the fourth quarter.
You know where that play came from?
The draw?
That delayed draw?
Huh.
That's a UNC play. That's a Mac Brown play. Big time. They just said, what do you like running? He was like, we had this delayed draw I like. Now, he had Omarion Hampton last year running that, not Gibson, although Gibson, very talented runner. But yeah, that is a home cooking for the rookie quarterback. We're going to run the exact same play he ran last year in college.
Perhaps let him get his first plays in a game you're winning. Brett's
just so nervous right now. He can't even talk.
Not only is their offensive line getting lit up, they're at MetLife. The most cursed stadium in the NFL.
Yeah.
I know they've replaced the surface. I don't care.
You're like, they didn't replace those ghosts.
That is an unholy building. Yeah. And they're pushing it.
Rodgers is like, we pushed him all the way to the rookie.
Pretty sure that Drake is about to have a third of the time of possession.
Oh, look out. Good night.
And he got folded.
Well, Leonard got him. We talked to Leonard at Shrine Bowl. Interesting player, sort of misused or played out of role, I'll say, in his last year, which definitely lowered his production and didn't give him particularly great tape. But Jets are using him more like he was used the previous year as a straight three tech, and boy, he can get that done. He is not great against the run necessarily, but he can penetrate.
Jaden says, "Hey Brett, how do you take your notes while watching film? I feel like I'm never fully understanding what each side is doing, or never confident in myself watching it. Any tips to get better at watching film?" A lot of it just comes with reps, but I will
I,
say,
I was gonna say I have an answer. Go ahead, but I have an answer.
so I chart a few different things, right? So I'll chart personnel, I'll chart receiver distribution, obviously situation, like what's the down and distance, what's the personnel, what's the receiver distribution, because that's just establishing context, right? So it's okay, from this personnel grouping, what are we expecting is going to be the play call in this situation, in this down and distance? What are we expecting is going to be the play call? Because that sets the context for how a defense might be playing and how a defense might be reacting. And then, I'll let the play work out. I'll make a note of what the coverage was. Was it a blitz? If so, what kind of blitz? And again, that's establishing context, because if I take a note of what the pre-snap look is and then what the post-snap look is, I'll understand, okay, well, what are the responsibilities for these players on this play? So I can understand, why is a corner playing it this way? Why is a safety playing it this way? Why is the defensive line, like, are they playing undisciplined, or are they told to slant into that gap to help to help clear a path for the nickel that's coming off the edge? And so it's all about just taking notes so that I can get context. And then you look at the result and you try to use the context to inform what happened, right? So I don't know if I'm explaining this properly, but it requires, I don't want to say it requires, it helps to have an understanding of various techniques and schemes and coverages for me, because that helps me kind of go into the mind of each individual player and understand what they're trying to accomplish on that play. Are they doing X, Y, or Z because they're a bad player or a good player, or are they doing X, Y, or Z because that is how that particular coverage is typically coached, right? And so I just think, oh God, Drake. So I just think context is everything. That's why I take notes the way that I do. And also the process of taking notes repetitively then allows me to eventually identify patterns, right? So if I notice, hey, they struggle against so-and-so, or hey, they're really good against so-and-so, those patterns really only emerge for me once I take enough notes and I get deep enough into that particular thing that I'm watching. And then once I can see a pattern, obviously I'll finish watching whatever I'm watching to make sure that pattern holds up through the rest of the tape. And then I'll kind of go on a little data hunting spree. So it's like, okay, this is my hunch based on watching the film. Does the data reflect that over a larger sample size, or am I off base here? And if the data says something different, then it's like, okay, well, let me go watch some more tapes and try to get context for why that data is different. Or if the data is the same, it's like, okay, I'm onto something here. Let me watch more tapes and I'll see what the pattern is. And then from those patterns, you can identify larger concepts or narratives, whatever you want to call it. And then those concepts / narratives become a script and an episode. And that's the process. All right, EJ, what's yours?
Totally different. Hang on. He got Douglas. He missed him 2 plays ago. They looked at each other and they were like, we were this close. And he came back to him.
I hit the over on Pop. The problem was I missed on everything else. So.
No, I'm just saying we actually got to see Drake hit one, and he just lost his helmet. Fantastic. God. Like, up one, down the other. One of my favorite things about the answer you just gave is, one, we completely agree on one piece of it, which is comes from reps. And my advice would be, even though you don't know what you don't know, or you said, like, I don't understand everything going on, nobody understands everything going on in the field. Write down everything you do see or do understand and take a piece of it. And what you see will morph over time. If I look at my notes from 11 years ago, They are not the same. Like, I didn't see the same things. I wasn't writing about the same things. I just started writing notes. I didn't know anything. And I just started writing notes. Start writing notes. They won't be great. Accept that and move on. Like, the more you write notes, the more reps you have, the better you get, the more you learn. Things will build over time. That's where the similarity between how Brett watches film and how I watch film ends. Like, we do not look at the same things. We talk about this all the time. And it comes, I think the time of year it comes most clear is during the draft process, because he is extremely beholden to scheme. I don't care two shits about scheme. Like, I understand scheme. I know what it is, not to the same level that he does. I do see it. I do understand what players' relationship to scheme is. It's not how I scout. I look very much more at traits. I look very much more at movement types. I look at success in certain situations, skills that are displayed both on wins and losses that can translate. We watch film very, very differently. And I think that's true with most people that I interact with. If I'm talking to Brandon Thorne, or if I'm talking to JT, or if I'm talking to like anybody else, they watch film very, very differently than I do. And I learn how they watch film. Other draft analysts, Trevor watches film differently than I do. Joe Marino watches film differently than I do. Matt Waldman watches film differently than I do. And I learn something from all of them. And that's how your process grows, and your notes generally become different over time. I learn things from Brett because Brett watches film differently than I do. And we'll sit down and we'll watch somebody together, and he'll say, I see this, this, and this, and I can't stand this, this, and this. And I'm like, but you're missing this, this, and this. Or, hey, I didn't see that at all. Like, now I'm going to think about that when I watch the next guy of this particular role or position or team or whatever else. So it's a fascinating process. You very quickly learn what you don't know, which is a lot or everything. And then you slowly start to build back up from the bottom, and your notes will change over time. What you see will change over time. What you appreciate, what you discard, things you see that you just throw out immediately and don't care about and go to the next play. You'll grow the library on both sides. So it does come from reps, and you will do it differently than just about everybody else. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And I think everybody has their own process, and we just, when you talk to others, I think we all just hope that in the aggregate, we reach a decent, I don't want to say consensus, but understanding, and we kind of get to a similar place on prospects, but from different angles, because the more people that take different ways to get to that spot, the more likely it is that that spot's the correct one, right? One last question before we wrap it up for the night. Bobby Mora for $20. Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate you. Who do I start for 2 out of 3 wide receivers? 80, I assume, is 80 Mitchell, right?
Yeah, it would be my guess.
Alec Pierce, Tutu, Whittington, Leggett, or Waver Cooks, or Juan. I kind of feel like Whittington's in line for a big role because the other guys are hurt. And then who do you think
the Alec and
cover?
AD thing? Yeah, Alec and AD thing is really difficult because either one of them could have a massive day. AD got missed for a massive day in his first start. Alec had a massive day in the first game of this year, same game. So that one can kind of turn on a dime, and it's like which throw AR hits, which right now is a bit of a crapshoot. Tutu would be my sort of least favorite. Legette's really interesting. Like, I don't necessarily think his game translates to where Dalton's going to throw it, but like he's got a much better chance to catch things from Dalton than he did from Bryce.
I'm just still not sure how involved they're actually going to make him right now,
Yeah. And you heard it was Legette, didn't you?
If I thought it was
he wants to pronounce Legette.
Okay, Legette it is.
Like he made a point of it. I was like, okay, I've been saying Legette the whole time, but it's Legette. Okay.
So I would say Whittington and AD Mitchell. Final answer. Just because I don't
think Whittington's a bad play. I think he's been more involved than a lot of people think.
But because Cup and Puka are both hurt, and Whittington does the Cup and Puka stuff.
Yep.
So,
you know who was a big Whittington guy? Who who sort of rubbed it in anytime he had anything going in preseason?
Who?
Marcus.
Was he really?
Yeah, he's a
Huh.
bit. I got every time Whittington had a thing, I heard about it,
Huh. I did not know that.
which I appreciate for Marcus. So,
All right. Well, we're going to get out of here. Again, we have a pod dropping tomorrow previewing the rest of week 3. There's 5 really, really good games. Or at least 5 really, really intriguing games. I don't want to say they're going to be great. One of them involves the Panthers, so we're going to talk about the Panthers. But again, should be a fun week. Hope you guys join us for that preview episode, and then we'll be back on Monday with our week 3 recap. So once again, thank you to everybody, and we will see you very soon.
take care.